Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master for the evening, and joining me, as always, are Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina. I'm super excited to be here for session 60, which is great. A couple of announcements before we get to the campaign itself, which is pretty traditional. Let me just pull up the announcements real quick. So, because this is the 60th session, and that's like super cool, and we've been going for like close to 2 years, at the break, I want to give away a $50 gift card for Hero Forge. So that's enough to get yourself one of the new heroes that is printed in full color, which is like the new feature that they have. It's really cool. I got to play around with it a little bit, because also, Tina, for you, you are the first person that's going to get the color 3D printed mini for Shae. Mostly because Shae, in the original mini, has the spear, and it snapped off because it's just a long stick, so it doesn't, not terribly durable. So we replaced it. It's a little bit updated. It's utilizing a lot of Hero Forge's new features. At the break, we're going to give away a gift card, which is enough for you to get your own, that is fully printed in color, which is super cool. So stick around for the break. We'll give you a word to say. If you put it in chat, you're entered to win. You don't have to follow. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to tell anybody. It can be our little secret, or you could tell whoever you want. But thank you for watching and hanging out. It's always really cool. There are people who watch pretty much every week. I know Talon, Das, Crixman, we see a lot. Asumiwa, of course, we were actually just talking about. And it's awesome seeing the same faces kind of week in and week out. It's cool connecting with people. So thank you guys for that. One by one, all of you guys are going to get your new minis. So it's coming. We had to get a lot of NPCs made over the past couple months, and most of them have been pretty well avoided. So, at the end of the campaign, I'm going to do a picture on Instagram of all of the Hero Forge that we have, because we're over 24
that we just walked past.
We're over 24 now that I physically have here, and I think you guys have seen your party, the other 2 members of the Finger Gang, Thistle, and that Highland, and that's it, I think.
Yeah, all those cool bad guys are sweet and all, but there's a Kenku over there selling some good stuff.
There may or may not be a Kevin as well. A couple of other quick announcements. We have a YouTube. If you are looking to get caught up on this campaign, every single session is up on our YouTube. There's a link below. Check that out. If you want a much quicker version, alberonrpg.com has a recap that is written up to the Slaying of the Purple Dragon Kind Scale by Heinrich, but everybody believes by Guntir. You can read that. It will be updated tomorrow to include all the way up to events that happen tonight, which may or may not be the end of the campaign. We'll have to see. There is also, for every week, we use Sirenscape, which is a great digital tool set that has the kind of jungle music that you might hear in the background. We use it for all of our sound effects, the music during battles. It's a really cool way to kind of immerse yourself in an environment. For Dungeon Masters, it gives you a great tool set where you can literally element by element construct the perfect soundscape for whatever you want to do, be it a battle in the middle of the astral sea against one of the most powerful entities that you guys have come across so far, or just, if you want goblins at your kid's birthday party for some reason, you can absolutely use Sirenscape for both. So check that out. And with that, I believe that is it. That's all I got. So on to our recap. Let me get some music here. All right. Finger Gang. When we last played, Heinrich and Shae, you found yourselves in a room. A single wooden pedestal on it, one button, one door. Sealed in, as this ticking sound increased, you dimension doored your way out, returning to the other 2. Meanwhile, Guntir, you set yourself adrift into the darkness, just distantly seeming to desaturate and disappear out of sight. You explored ahead. Morwen, you a little bit more cautiously tied yourself to the wall and floated like a kite in what you would soon come to discover is the astral sea. Eventually, Heinrich, Shae, you made your way in and gathering Morwen, bringing her back down from the sort of drift that she had found. You made your way across, reuniting with Guntir in this cylindrical hallway with twisting stone rings, almost like a space station, like you had said, Miles. Beyond this, there was a sprawling series of wooden pathways and docks. Morwen, you especially, with a background as a pirate aboard the Raging Harmony, could see these sort of structures that would indicate this being an actual dock, although adrift in an endless expanse of black. You made your way down the docks, finding faint gray light from lanterns similar to one that you had, Heinrich, turning on as you passed. You came to a door at the end of the room with a ninth path monk. This monk shouted that they needed more time, and as they retreated, you were attacked once again by invisible stalkers. In the ensuing battle, Shae, you immediately took off after this monk, chasing him down the hallway. The rest of you engaged in a melee, sort of at the doorway. Heinrich, you utilizing Eldritch Blast to its best, but really this sort of swirling melee with Shae and Morwen wedged in the middle made quick work of the invisible stalkers. You pursued this monk up rungs anchored into the darkness itself with nothing behind, yet still secure and stable. You came up to a hallway of wooden walls with small inset sections of pews, prayer benches. You had these burnt umber, orange kind of banners. And as you progressed, Shae, you narrowly avoided being smashed as this metal orb swung through the wood, shattering it, obliterating it into almost nothing before it returned to its previous state. Fairly easily, you made your way through this hallway, one or two of you getting a little close, and found your way up a long staircase to a platform that seemed to extend into darkness, though across 290, 300 feet. Oop, we lost a map.
Uh-oh, no good.
You got
There's a
scared.
map. I know, you got really scared. We'll wait for you, Matthew. We're on Matt standard time here.
I don't know what's going
All
on
right.
here.
You ready, Matt?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Maybe the cat.
290, 300 feet away, you could see floating on a stone platform, which I posted in general chat, and which if somebody could put to Twitch would be great. A stone platform that seems to have remnants of some kind of a ruin. Heinrich, you had seen previously this tall angelic statue, 30 feet tall, wearing the insignia of what you would know to be the burning banner. You approach the listener, this tall, blue-skinned humanoid, a Jinn, Shae, you know. He bid you to approach and told you that you had to go, gesturing to this swirling, almost mercury-like portal, which in its center has a 10-foot wide gap that seems to lead to the northern skies of Alberon, to the top of the giant step. He told you you must go, but he cannot let you pass. And as you floated closer and closer through the darkness, 100 feet, 80 feet, 55 feet, there was a swirling oncoming of speed. And that brings us to tonight's events. So, let me just pull up the appropriate music here. I'm gonna have to adjust the sound levels on the fly for a second. We'll see.
Ooh.
There is this onslaught of wind through this darkness. Guntir and Shae, with a passive perception of 19, you see this twitch in the movement of this blue-skinned humanoid before this ripple of reality comes sprinting towards you. in this brief instant before it strikes, you can see carved of wind these blades, short swords that seem to dance through the air. I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ah, jeez.
And then we're going to go into initiative.
Ooh. All right. That might do it. Probably not though.
17.
I got a 16.
24.
24, nice.
26.
26, look at you
All
guys.
right.
Okay. So, as these blades of seeming wind streak out towards you guys, for all of you, except for you, Heinrich, with a 17, manage to push yourselves aside, willing yourselves with this very slow movement out of the way. Heinrich, you are the only one remaining. You feel the wind pierce through you in a way that makes it feel material. I need D8s. Hang on 1 second. That's not bad. You are going to take 15. 15 points of slashing damage, plus 3 points of force damage as this wind. You feel the wind drawn from you as it hits. There is a force element, but it leaves a slash through the scales. You can see floating away from your body tiny bits of metal. You didn't see what this was. This was just wind to you. But for Guntir and Shae, this is a blade of wind that carved by Heinrich. And I need everybody to roll initiative.
Ah, jeez. Oh, yeah, okay.
All right.
16 again. I'm rolling 16s a lot.
You're doing great,
Okay,
Gunter.
so anybody
Above
natural
average
20?
for dexterities.
Anybody natural 20? All right, 25 to 20.
21.
28. 28.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good.
Okay, 28
Just
is
out of this
Morwen,
range.
21 is Shae. What? Okay, 20 to 15. Gunter, you're 16, 16, so that's going to be...
16.
High, who goes first? Who has the higher dex modifier? It's Heinrich,
That's
right?
3 for me.
Oh, yeah, I've got a 0.
Heinrich, Gunter.
Oh,
Alrighty.
flat 0 on dex.
So, it is the listener's turn.
Whoa.
You rolled higher than a 28.
Oh, boy.
You guys are about 55 feet away from him. Oh, yeah. You watch these eyes, these two pinpoints of brilliant, pale blue light dart up towards you, Gunter.
Ah, jeez.
You see the hand move. It's almost a casual gesture, just a toss, but you can see reality ripple as another one of these blades skirts towards you.
Ah,
This is not a saving throw. This is going to be a 26 to hit.
yeah, that's gonna hit.
Okay. You are going to take 5, 6, 8, 16, 17, 22 points of slashing damage plus 8 points of force damage.
Oh, man.
It's
30?
blade of wind
Oh,
right through. You feel your shoulder almost sag a little bit as parts of the muscle are severed. And in this action, you saw barely a movement from the arm. That is his action. He is going to bonus action within 60 feet. Shae, you can see the eyes now turn to you, and he points with the other hand, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Plus 28.
28, that, okay. You are going to take 11 points of force damage halved to 5. And because you succeeded, you are not knocked prone. You feel this wind ripple around you, but you turn, your light body, lighter than a normal human, able to seemingly balance in this strange space that you already float through. Shae, for you especially, you see there's a slight adjustment in the way that he holds himself. But that is his turn. That brings us to Morwen. Shae, you're on deck. Heinrich, you're up next.
We're 55 feet away, you said?
Yeah.
Shit. That's unfortunate.
What are you going to do?
I'm just going to... Are we constantly drifting at this moment?
No. So in order to drift, you need to think, you need to actively think about it. and that will count as your movement, but your movement is considered 5 feet times your intelligence modifier, minimum of 5.
Lovely. I'll scoot 5 feet ahead with my mind.
Okay.
And I guess I'll ready to loose some butts if he gets in my range.
Okay, you watch as Morwen drifts slowly forwards, blades in hand. That is Morwen's turn. That brings us to Shae. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna dash forward.
So how far are you moving, Shae? What's your intelligence modifier?
1.
Ooh.
10 feet forward, Shae pulls ahead of you, even in this space faster, just drifting away. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Heinrich, what do you want to do, Guntir? You're next.
So we're how far exactly? 60 feet? 50?
You are 55 feet.
Okay. I'm shooting my shot here using my, what's it called? Well, whatever. Mental prison.
Sure.
Just trying
Okay.
it out on him.
And that's a what kind of save?
It is an intelligence save.
All right. So as you look at this creature, you can feel the celestial glyphs materializing around your head, and suddenly similar ones appear. What is the DC on that?
17?
Ooh. That's going to be an 11. So that is a success.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So
For the record, so everyone is aware,
thank you.
immediately takes 5d10 damage.
Nice.
Then is considered to be, where's the trait? I'm sorry, it's a wall of text. I think it's immobilized.
I
No,
think it
on a
might even
fail,
be-
5d10, what the hell, where is it? Sorry.
I want to say it might even be incapacitated. It's a pretty brutal spell.
Target can't hear or see anything beyond 5 feet of itself and is considered restrained.
Yeah.
So
oh,
basically
great.
just perceives an invisible imaginary landscape or cell or something where it all of a sudden cannot perceive outside of it.
Okay, so roll damage on that, and what is it seeing? What are you projecting into it? Because you
Its
are
worst fears, so it's actually dependent on who I hit. So whatever it fears the most in terms
Okay.
of
What it
something that can
sees,
be
yep.
surrounding it.
Oh,
It's
wow.
okay.
we don't know what it is.
It's probably a
But-
person like
Spiders! Ah!
that's trying to talk and the listener can't hear it.
Oh my God, yes.
Frustrating.
Yes. Okay. All right. So
Dude
So
sitting in
that's-
a chair.
Exactly. Be like, I can't hear you.
shit. Fuck yeah. So that's 28, and then one final. 32 psychic damage, which is a
Okay.
really fucking
Nice.
good roll.
Above
Yeah.
average roll. Yeah.
Now, remember too, we used this before. If is moved somehow outside or extends his reach beyond it or breaks within the 5 feet of what's immediately surrounding him, he takes 10d10.
Yep.
Oh boy.
All right.
So if he is moved, because he won't do it himself unless he has a good reason to.
Well, he's restrained, so he can't.
Yeah,
True.
his speed is considered 0. Now, granted,
He can reach through it, and that would also trigger it.
True.
Though. That's the thing.
yeah. So you can see these eyes open somewhat, the light getting a little bit brighter and more diffused as the opening increases in size. You can see the eyes shift around, unclear as to what he's seeing at the moment. Anything else, Heinrich?
And then the forward momentum.
Okay, 5 feet forward.
Wait, is anyone looking particularly wounded at this moment? A quick glance at my companions.
Of everybody, Gunter's probably looking the worst.
Okay,
It's a couple bruises. I'll be fine.
You
Gotta
see
get
him in
through
much
that.
worse shape.
I'll save it for when he's in worse
A
shape.
quick
Yeah,
montage of
passed
Gunter
out.
impaled, dead.
Yeah, and I'm like,
you know,
nah, there's nothing protruding from his stomach, so he's fine.
most of his
just a
inside is
flesh
still on the
wound.
inside.
Rub some
Mystic
dirt
She's a
Arcana,
on
flesh
I forgot what
wound.
it's called. Anyways.
Heinrich, anything else?
No, that's it. 5
Gunter.
feet forward and that move.
What would you like to do?
So how far away is the closing portal from us on this map?
So he is 55 feet away. Given where he is standing, 65.
Is it
75.
is it like
right where the
diagonally
angel? So it's right. It extends right
Above
above
him?
where the angel is. Yeah.
Okay.
You could theoretically climb the angel and jump through the portal.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna start making my way forward 10 feet, because Gunter's extra fast in here.
Shae, very frustratingly, Gunter pulls up alongside you.
We gotta get through that portal. That's goal number 1. You
This is
leave
like
this
right
guy
at the end
to
of the
me.
race. He's like a little bit ahead of you too now.
And I'm gonna be like, hey, you! We gotta get by! Get out of here! Banishment?
All right. This is a big roll. Whew. All right. So, what is the save on that? And it's a wisdom save, correct?
It is a charisma save, I think.
Charisma save. Okay. He does not have a bad charisma.
Well, it could be wisdom if you
Not
want.
a great
No,
roll.
wisdom's worse.
What was the DC on that?
I believe it is 19.
Whoa.
No. It's 17.
Ooh, okay. If it was 19, he would have failed that. He rolled an 18. He has a pretty good charisma. As you yell this at him,
Oh,
you
wait.
can see
No, never mind. Yeah, you're good.
anything you want to do.
No.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay.
Not yet.
Great. As you shout this out, you can see his eyes distracted. There is this twitch, and in this moment, you can see him, the shadow of his image, and then his body, very like Agent Smith Matrix-like, seem to almost extend away. And you watch as this ripple of your arcane energy, right by him, into this dark space. Anything else?
I think then I'm gonna use action surge,
Okay.
and I'm gonna use divine intervention.
The channel divinity thing.
Okay. Yeah. Roll your. And
This is the
Gunter, you close your eyes. You
It's like-
feel the brand on your back begin to sear and glow. What are you saying? What is your request? What's your call for aid to Cord?
get this guy out of here and get us through this portal.
Okay.
And that's D100. Is that a 60?
You close your eyes, and as you open them, you see these beams of blue light gazing back at you. He's still there. Gunter, that is your turn. That brings us back to the top of the round. It is the listener. You watch the eyes shift back and forwards. Huh. Amusing. He is going to... Can't move. And he gets a save at the end of his turn, correct?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
No
So it's just... What's the duration on that?
1 minute. I'm
1
holding
minute.
it.
So is it just concentration?
Yeah, I'm just buying us time to get to the
Yeah, we gotta get to that
floor,
portal.
and then I'll push him beyond it if we still have time.
Okay, he's smart enough to see this then. He is going to kind of sweep around. It is impossible. The eyes dart up at you, Heinrich. You see a twitch, and I'm going to say that is going to be a 18 to hit.
It does not hit.
That does not hit. Okay. So as this streak of wind seems to distort even the darkness around it, you're able to move out of the way. You see
So
another...
did he like extend part of his body beyond 5 feet of him? Like
No, he doesn't have to move nearly that much to do this. How about a 28?
that one does, sure.
Alrighty.
So he can't see me, but he can see me?
Yes, he doesn't need to... well, you don't know.
Or, okay, sure.
You got really lucky. You're going to take 11 points of slashing damage along with 6 points of force damage as you feel the wind hit you, and you hear the metal peel and shriek as it is torn by this, it seems to you like just wind. Mm-hmm. Shae, for you, as you glance behind, you see what looks like almost a scimitar just and then cut Heinrich as it goes by. That is going to be his turn because he really can't do a whole lot in here. That brings us to Morwen. What do you want to do?
I think I'm just going to use all of my movement, so I'm going to dash and feline agility to drift towards the hole
Okay. First of all, that is what she said. But second of all, so feline agility, what does it specifically say that it does?
I believe it doubles my movement.
Okay. So in that
Doubles my
case,
movement, and I can't reuse it until I don't move at all.
all of a sudden, Guntir, Shae, as you see this wind past and strike Heinrich, a little bit of blood into the darkness. All of a sudden, Morwen, you see the cat eyes gleam out of the darkness as she surges forward, past both of you by 10 feet. Anything else?
I mean, again, if he comes in range, I'm gonna loose some butts. That's about it.
Okay, at the moment, you are right over the edge of this platform. 5 feet beneath you, there is stone. You are only about 15 feet away from him. So just so you're aware. That is your turn. That brings us to Shae. You see now 25 feet ahead of you Morwen and the edge of this floating island in the darkness.
Using all of my very frustrating movement to go forward.
10 feet.
Yep.
You pull up right behind Morwen. The tail flicks you a little bit in the nose. That is your turn. Heinrich, anything?
Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, moving... And again, so I moved only the 5, so I'm like...
Point of fact, did you make a concentration check?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay. Taking... how much damage was that? That's 17 points in total?
Was 11 and
Yes.
6, 17, yeah.
Okay.
So Warcaster gives me advantage on this,
Yep.
which is good. Okay. It's Constitution, right?
Yep.
Oh, well then I hit it on the first one, but let's see how high I can get. Okay. Well, I got 17 rather on the first one, and then whatever less than that on the second one.
You're fine.
Cool.
You managed to
Barely,
grit
though.
your teeth.
Barely.
through the wind. And that was a light hit.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so more Heinrich. Sorry, lost track. So that was his turn. I think we're on Morwen. Correct?
I go right after him.
Okay, so
Oh,
It
wait.
was.
Yeah, no,
wait.
I moved.
Yeah, you go right after him. So then it's Shae, I think.
you moved, then Shae. So Shae, what do you want to do? Heinrich, you're on deck.
Using all of my movement to go forward.
You drift a little bit further forward. Heinrich,
Yeah. And I'm
It's-
now how far?
if you use your movement to drift 5 feet forward, you are about 20 feet away from the edge of the platform and maybe 30 feet away from him total.
Okay. So either holding him or attacking him.
What do you want to do?
I'm gonna hold him for now,
Okay.
and then just dash.
Okay. 10 feet closer, you get to within 5 feet of the edge of this
I
platform.
guess I'll heal myself up a little bit too.
Sure.
I think I'll use a
You-
few of my healing lights as I'm doing it as a bonus.
Okay. As you go forward, little glyphs appear on some of your energy or on some of your injuries, and you feel the energy from Helm permeate the wounds and seem to almost stitch them closed.
Okay. Heal for
That
6.
is Heinrich's turn. Nice. That's Heinrich's turn. Guntir, what do you want to do?
I'm going to move forward my 10 feet.
Okay. That brings you up. You can see the stone only 10 feet away from you now. You are right on the edge of this platform.
And he is also, like, pretty much there, right? He's within 30 feet now.
Yes.
I'm going to use Guardian of Faith
Okay.
and place it in between him and the portal. Or I guess, like,
So right behind him.
yeah, pretty much right
Okay.
behind him.
So Guntir, you gesture, and how are you casting Guardian of Faith?
I'm just thinking real hard, like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta make it through this.
And as you do, you can see a glimmer appear behind. You don't see the listener react, but you can see sort of almost a shift in his balance would indicate that he is aware of this. But there is this kind of line that appears before the shimmer, and then with this peal of thunder, this figure appears, as you described previously, armor, wings, huge sword, just glowing. You can see bits of sparks and electricity drifting off the body. Does it do anything on the turn that it appears?
Any creature hostile to you that moves to a space within 10 feet for the first time on a turn must succeed on a dex save.
Okay.
So I guess on the start of his turn, it would
If he moves.
initiate. Yeah.
Anything else?
And then I think bonus action. I'm gonna hold that. Never mind.
Great. That is your turn. That brings us to the top of the round. It is the listener. Looking up at you, Heinrich. You guys are all within 30 feet, mostly? Okay. You can watch. There is no smile. There is almost kind of like a sadness to him. But he looks at you, Shae, and says, "There is still much to learn." And you can feel the wind begin to increase around you. And as it does, it becomes almost visible, especially for you, Shae and Guntir. You can see these blades, one at a time, begin to just appear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They swirl around him. And suddenly, it's hard to see the listener through this sphere of swirling blades of wind. And Shae, you would recognize this is almost a combination of wind and ki energy. This is the combination of his Jinn heritage and the training from the Zenith that he has received over the last centuries. And I need Morwen, Shae, Guntir, and Heinrich to... Actually, I guess I need all of you to please make Constitution saving throws.
Constitution's a little better than dex, at least.
So speak for yourself.
Cool. 12.
Okay.
19.
Okay.
Let me check my bonus
18.
just to make sure.
What was that, Shae?
18.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
Okay. So, in this moment, as these blades begin to spin and swirl, they expand from him to form this sphere, this 30-foot radius sphere of swirling blades. And as they move beyond you, you all feel them begin to cut and nick into you as they swirl. You guys are going to take... So hang on one sec. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What was the DC on that?
18.
Oh, wait, but I had a dirty 20.
I think he's mathing.
Am I still... Oh.
I'm sure we got half.
Yeah, we got...
I'm sorry, Guntir and Shae are the only people who made it. No, sorry.
No, I did.
If I made it, then Morwen.
Heinrich and Shae didn't make it.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, they didn't make it.
Well, it's
Guntir and
fine.
Morwen.
We're still fine.
Guntir and Morwen, you each are going to take 15 points of force damage
Oh, there's an and, isn't there?
plus 13 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Start
Heinrich and
a little
Shae.
high.
You are taking 30 points of force damage.
I'm gonna half that with the gamble force back or feedback ring.
Okay.
Or not halve it, I reduce it by 2d6.
Yeah, very nice. As well as 26 points of slashing damage.
So what was the force?
Beautiful.
30 points of force damage.
Okay, so 20 for me.
And as these blades strike you, Heinrich, you squeeze your fist and you can feel these small clockwork mechanisms within this ring begin to buzz and spin as elements of the force damage just almost seem to siphon into it. You reduce some of the damage.
And what was the second one? It was force and what was the other one?
Slashing.
How much was it, I mean?
Sorry, 26 points of slashing damage. As a bonus action, he is going to gesture at you, Shae, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Nice.
The wind moves towards you, and as it hits, you turn in such a way that it still strikes you, but instead of pushing you backwards, which you sense as the intent, it seems to almost break around you. And for just a moment, it feels like you're flying. But it passes,
Yay.
and again, you float that is his turn. In that moment, as you do that, he's going to look at you, Shae, and there is a little bit of a smile. And you can hear him say, "Good." His eyes drift up to you, Guntir, but that is the end of his turn. Morwen, what do you want to do? Shae, you are on deck.
I'm. How far?
All around you, blades are swirling through the air. You actually don't see the blades because of your perception. You actually just feel the wind moving through you, and every now and then some element of this wind seems to cut you or bump into you in such a way that seems to stagger you slightly. It's this storm that you are in. You can barely see him. He is heavily obscured by this orb.
I'd still like to drop down to the ground.
Okay.
As close as I can, if I can, then.
Yep, it's only 5 feet till you drop, so then you regain your full speed as soon as you're on the ground. So you have the rest of your movement to move.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, is this just like an open place? Like, is there little things to, say, hide behind?
So if you look at the map, on the left-hand side, you can see
sorry.
there is kind of a long wall. Set slightly down, you can see elements of sand that slowly cascade down. It seems to be almost like a beach of some kind. Where you guys are currently standing, there are blocks of stone. These bits of stone, almost like an off green. There are little bits of what look like dried seaweed, perhaps, in elements in between the actual blocks. You can see a tall angelic statue kind of to the north, and elements of a broken, what looks like a shack. Morwen, given your background, you see the top of a treasure chest within that shack. There is also a big stone bench, but that is what you see.
All right. Well, I'm running as close to him. Let's see. Looking at the map, let's say, see that like big rock that's almost directly down from him.
Okay. In doing that,
If I can make that, or I want to hide
certainly
behind a
can.
rock with the most movement I can.
sure, you can easily do that. So you run 10 feet, you plant your hand on the wall, and you sort of saddle hop over it. You land your paws into the sand. And for a moment, it's actually very familiar, but you go ahead and roll your hide. It's a stealth check.
Okay. Sorry. Found it. Okay.
It's okay, it's a new character.
I'm mathing. Excuse me. That's 31.
31. Okay, you guys all watch Morwen run, and it might be elements of the darkness of the astral sea, but you lose her quickly. You feel pretty hidden. That is your turn. That brings us to Shae, and then Heinrich, you're on deck.
How far away am I from solid ground?
Now?
Yep.
You're only 5 feet off the ground.
Solid, going down to the ground.
Okay, you drop. You regain the rest of your movement speed.
Oh, get through there, Shae!
Sorry, interesting point of fact, and I should have brought this up before. Morwen, because you started your turn, make a Constitution saving throw.
Seven.
Okay, you take 15 points of force damage, along with 12 points of slashing damage.
Ouch.
You got
Okay.
no, you got very, very lucky.
Oh, I'm sure, but yeah.
Shae, at the beginning of your turn, please make a Constitution
thing.
saving throw.
That's a 17.
17. You feel the blades now carve through. You were able to dodge them at first. You can see the actual blades. And so for a moment, you're able to keep up with them. But there are dozens within this cloud. You're going to take a lot more damage. That is 13 points of force damage plus... Ooh, buddy. 21 points of slashing damage. But what do you want to do?
Ow, first of all. I'm gonna spend 2 points for haste. And then
So
Get through the portal, quick!
how far is the portal away from me?
okay. Okay.
At this moment.
Away from you at this point, so you'll have to cross through this storm of swords and air. You're going to pass the listener, but you are only 40 feet away from the angel statue, which is then 30 feet up, and the portal swirls above.
Okay. I'm going for it.
Okay. So, that is going to provoke a number of things.
I'm sure it is.
That is going to provoke an opportunity attack from the listener. When you are hasted, I believe he's rolling at disadvantage. He's restrained, so he's at disadvantage anyways. Okay, cool. All right. How does a...
Is it a melee attack?
It is.
Okay, so then he takes 10d10 damage in the effect.
Okay. 1 second. That is a 29 to hit.
Yep, that'll hit.
Okay. Your speed is reduced to 0, Shae.
Okay.
That is going to be 13 points of bludgeoning damage. As you streak
Down.
by, the speed coursing through you, you feel not even a strike, but with the speed that you're moving, it is like a grab on your arm, and given the speed that you're moving at, it hurts.
I'm down.
And you watch as, with that, Shae drops. It's hard to see her, but you see the form just vanish into the swirl of blades and wind. Shae's down. Worth noting also, Shae is down in a place where she is taking automatic critical hits because she is down and these are attacks. So something to think about. If Shae begins her turn in the same space and this effect is still up, she's taking 2 fails right off the bat. So that brings us to Heinrich.
No pressure, dude.
Well, no, it triggered the effect of this.
Oh,
It's
right.
10d10,
So
and then if it's a
yeah.
concentration effect, it's going to have to make.
Has he moved at all too? Or
he is
no?
not. No, he's aware. He can't move. His movement is 0 right now.
All right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Do you want me to get a calculator out?
No, I got it. Sorry. Okay.
That was good.
40. This is the third roll, so 35 then to 44, 50. 50. No, 62, and then the last one. Fucking okay. 62. That's 76 points of psychic damage.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, come on.
10d10 is a
Oh,
lot.
shit.
And if
So-
if he needs to concentrate on that, I'm assuming there's no way you can hit that DC.
As he reaches out, so natural 20 can still do it. So I'll roll in a second.
Sure.
But as he reaches out, Shae, as you run by, you can see the listener reach out. You can hear him say, "Stop." And as he grabs you, there is this blinding crackle of teal energy as the area explodes with psychic force. That's the last thing that you see as everything goes dark around you. But he takes a tremendous amount of damage. And for his concentration check, yeah, he fails. All of a sudden, in this instant, the wind disappears. All of a sudden, you can see the blue skin, the eyes. There is a deep, like, almost like a impact mark that's quickly becoming. It's like you can actually see elements of celestial that seem to be almost singed into the skin. Mostly around the head, spreading down the neck a little bit. But awesome.
Okay. So now it's my turn?
Now it's your turn.
Okay.
Do it again.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's a once per day thing. It's my.
Also, saying "fuck him up" mentally. That the only context I would ever say that in.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. He's looking pretty rough.
The two.
I
So
would never
two
promote that
questions here.
otherwise.
One.
Yes.
One is Shae within 60 feet of me, as I can probably all continue to drift if I need to. Can I get
Yes,
within
Shae is within 60 feet.
Perfect.
Um,
Okay.
Currently,
So-
Shae, from you, Shae is only, because Shae had to stop right next to where he was.
Yeah.
Shae is only 15 feet away.
Perfect. From me?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So she's only like
alright.
5 from us, right?
Yeah.
All right,
You guys are
so-
all now pretty much grouped up with the exception of Morwen.
Right.
Okay, so, and second part question, Guardian of Faith still up, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
Great, awesome. 3 Eldritch Blasts to push him to trigger the Guardian of Faith as well.
That's what I was waiting for.
So, first one, where's my
Just
D10?
like
That's his
pushed
blast.
behind,
Where did my
put in a
D10 go?
headlock.
Alright. So
Or tabletop.
First attack is a 26.
26 hits. Go ahead and roll
Okay.
damage on that.
Nice.
Yeah, that one, that damage is 9.
Okay.
Wait, no. Yes. 9.
Okay.
And then.
This is force damage, though?
Correct.
Okay, so as that strikes him, worth noting, you can see it hits, and it does still do damage, but not as much as you're used to seeing. You remember that invisible stalker against the wall,
Sure.
not anywhere near the same amount of effect.
Okay. And then that one will push him, and the, 20 damage from the Guardian of Faith save, but afterwards. And the other 2 bolts, 20. Wait,
Yes, that hits.
20 something. Yeah, it's a 20. Oh, no, it's a dirty 20. That's right. For.
Push. No, you're.
Oh, no, I don't need to tell you half because you can do that, right?
I can. Yeah.
13.
Okay.
And then the last one is.
The listener.
Yeah, above 20 again.
Hopkins.
Yeah, 23 for
Roll damage?
15 max damage.
15. All right. All right. You can see now that the wind subsides, Shae's body down, you fire Eldritch Blast. You can see they hit him again and again. Every time they do, the burn marks of Celestial from that psychic attack seem to almost flare back to life and burn deeper. He's looking pretty rough.
Okay, so he gets pushed 10 feet, and then the damage from the Guardian.
So what does he have to do with Guardian of Faith, Matt?
He needs to make a dex save or take 20 radiant damage or half as much on success.
That is a 23.
It's gonna succeed. So he takes
Okay,
10.
so 10 points of radiant damage. He takes the full
Yeah.
damage from that.
And
Okay.
yeah,
So as he is pushed back, you can see, and all in the space, he has shifted through the darkness. You watch as the feet seem to glide across the stone, and as he is pushed into the radius of this Guardian of Faith, this huge greatsword swings, leaving arcs of lightning in its wake, and it slashes through. You can see him turn to the side and grunt slightly. He is now bleeding. He is looking pretty rough.
nice.
So I'm moving forward I guess only 5 feet. Can that allow me to touch ground or not
Yeah,
yet?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so as I'm doing that, I'm also going to Healing Light all maximum 5 at a time, D6 on Shae.
Yeah, go ahead, roll your healing.
I'm so happy I remembered this bag of D6s that we have.
Very
helpful.
important.
Just need a
Or this
bag of
team over
D10s
here.
soon, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. For hell fucking yes. 21 points of healing.
All right. Heinrich, as you drift through the darkness, your hand comes up. You can see the Doctor Strange like glyphs of celestial teal energy swirl around your hands. These eldritch blasts. As you come down to the ground, you can see these other glyphs light behind you. And as you cast this divine healing on Shae, the glyphs seem to erupt from your back, and for a brief moment, it's almost as if you have wings before the energy seeps into Shae. And Shae, suddenly you burst to consciousness. The wind has died down somewhat. You can see the listener a little bit closer to you than he was before. But fantastic. Anything else?
Now that I've touched down, do I regain any movement speed?
Yeah, so you only use 5 feet. You have the rest of your movement for this turn.
Can I make it to duck behind where Morwen is and take cover?
Aww.
You'd be surprised that I'm there. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
5,
I'm
10.
assuming that's the
you certainly
biggest
can,
place
yeah.
of cover,
You
yeah.
Easily, you just move 10 more feet. You jump over a little bit less gracefully. You kind of like tumble to a knee, but you pull yourself up. You look, Morwen's right there.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
is he gone?
No, not yet.
Guntir, you can see the listener now looks pretty hurt. He's no more than 10 feet away from you. You can see Shae slowly pulling herself up. Shae, for what it's worth, I believe because haste ended, you are exhausted.
Correct. Does it end because I dropped unconscious? I mean, it would end, but do the effects still
Yes.
exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's still that adrenaline coursing through your body. It takes a toll.
Okay.
Huh.
Guntir.
I'm gonna be like, "Come on, Shae, get up and get through there. We gotta finish this." And then I'm gonna be like, "You are done, Mister." Guiding bolt at 3rd level.
Yeah, sure. Roll your attack.
3rd level? It sounded like you were
Nice.
asking us. Like
It's always that's always how it is.
That is a 24.
24. You say, you tell him to go away, mister, and as you gesture with your finger, that final flick, there is this, as this bolt leaves your hand. Yeah, roll damage.
Okay. Nice. Nice. All right. That's 23 points of damage. It's half radiant. Oh no, it's all radiant for your guiding bolt, and then
Okay.
advantage on the next attack.
Sure. So you watch it streaks from your hand and strikes into him. He seems to almost lose a little bit of height. You can see a brief stagger before he picks himself back up. Shae, from your vantage point, you even hear a ugh, ugh. The eyes drift back up towards you. Shae, make a perception check.
30.
Okay. You can
Holy
see the hint of a smile. There's sadness to it, but also just the glimmer of hope. That is Gunter's turn. That brings us back to the top of the round. He straightens himself up somewhat. You can see him completely clearly now. Injured, bruised, battered, bleeding. You can see an element of one of these black horns that comes out of his head broken off and kind of dangling at an angle. He is going to look at you, Shae, holding a hand out as it drifts towards Gunter, but he's going to say to you, Hylan wasn't wrong, but we all were. You must make this right, little bird. I'm sorry. And there is this flicker of movement. Gunter, that is going to be first a 26 to hit, and second a 23 to hit.
Did he move at all to hit me?
There's no, he didn't take a quick jog and then like
He
stab
hasn't
one
moved
at
at
you.
all. We've just pushed
Yeah,
him
those
around.
are gonna be hits.
Yeah. That is going to be Keywin Blade. You take
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
24 points of slashing damage,
Okay.
plus 8 points of force damage.
Okay. So that's 32.
That's the first one.
Oh boy.
The second one is going to be, ooh, that's really lucky on your part. About
You
average.
need a little bit of luck.
21 points of slashing damage plus 1 point of force damage. The first one hits you hard. You can feel part of it just cut through the now battered leather armor that you're wearing. You remember you have 2 other sets somewhere in the world, but this one is looking pretty rough. The second one kind of almost spins you around. You can have it hit your shoulder, and you feel part of the leather and part of the skin peel away.
Ah!
That is his action. As a bonus action, you see his stance shift again. He's going to look up through this portal. He's going to look down at you, Gunter, and you can hear him say, "You only have 2 minutes left." That is his turn. Morwen, what do you want to do?
Oh boy.
On the other side of this wall, you hear none of that, you see none of that. As far as you know, Shae is engaging with the listener, and there's a swirl of blades. You hear the wind die down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Morwen's pretty scared shitless. So I'm going to use Loose to go invisible for 1 minute.
Okay.
And I'm running like a crazy cat lady that I am
So,
to that portal as much as I can. So
Heinrich, you watch as Morwen holds this rapier close. It shakes. You see the blade wavering in the air. And as it wavers, suddenly it just seems to disappear. Morwen is gone. Morwen, you run. Where do you want to go? You're invisible.
Yeah,
Stab 'em.
I'm dashing to.
Okay.
Stab him.
Yeah, can I reach him?
Easily, yeah. He's only 20 feet away. You hop over the wall. You scamper
have
over to where he is.
All right, I'm going
Advantage
to.
on the next hit, so
You-
it's
Technically, you have
Thank
like
you.
triple advantage.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I have to be
Visible.
told when I get sneak attack.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Visible,
Yeah,
being a
that's
rogue,
fair.
and
so I'm
he's
gonna
glowing.
I'm gonna lose some butts on him.
Okay.
On my way. On my way. I'm just gonna be like, oh.
You just gotta swim for it.
Go ahead and roll your attack. This is a sneak attack. Roll at advantage.
Goody. Alright.
Stab him in the face.
Alright, so that's going to be a
Enough.
29.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage. Roll your massive rogue sneak attack damage.
Gladly. Okay, I'm gonna do this first.
That's so
I really
many.
can't. I
Sorry.
really can't. Okay.
I just, there's
Drop
something
it.
about like not numerical but pip dice.
Okay.
When you see all the pips, it's really
I can
exciting.
still hear you. You're right next to me.
I think also in the headphones, you know, it kind of comes
Oh my
right
god.
through.
God. Alright. Wait, truly. Okay.
Math under pressure.
That is 39.
Dang.
Tell us how it happens.
Woo!
Oh. Fucking hell, what? I was not expecting that.
Well, I'm still running. I just do a cut and run. So he just, as far as I know, I just hear the crumbling of like a tower falling. so
So,
anticlimactic, but I'm not looking. I'm just running. So
The
if you want
invisible
to be more,
Morwen sprints.
and
Shae,
I'm
you
yelling.
Shae, you pick yourself up. You hear Morwen running, but you do not see her. You hear this screech, and all of a sudden, as you look up, and you
Classic
can
way
see
to end a
the
combat.
listener, this tall, towering blue figure, hurt, injured. You can see like burns of celestial across him from that mental prison, which did a tremendous amount of damage, by the way.
Yeah, holy shit, it did.
Yeah. You see suddenly Morwen flicker into being as she streaks past. Very like samurai duel. All of a sudden she's past, still screaming. The sword like kind of flailing out behind her. But in this moment you can see the blue in the listener's eyes fade a little bit. And he looks up at you and he tells you, "Go. But you will need to make a decision, like I did. I hope you make the right one." And you see his eyes roll back, and I need everybody but Heinrich. Oh, no, never mind. So,
Hmm? Don't scare us like that.
I know, right?
No save, you all just die.
You see the eyes roll back. He sinks down to his knees. And as he begins to fall forwards, it's as if the wind that he is seemingly always surrounded by gently lowers him down. And as he hits the ground, you can see the blue skin seem to almost evaporate into these flakes that disappear into the darkness. There's a warm breeze that parts. And after that, the wind seems to die down. And you're in this dark place. You are surrounded now by stone and darkness. Many of you are very hurt.
Yeah.
There is nothing left of the listener. Actually, everybody make a perception check. Everybody make a perception check. He never was holding a hilt. His hand was around something, but it was almost this invisible blade.
Natural 20.
Ooh. I got
None
a
of you?
26.
All right.
25?
I'm also behind a rock. I'm not looking.
This fair enough. You know what, Heinrich? Unfortunately, you don't see this, but for everybody else, as this body drifts away and flakes into this warm breeze, the only thing left behind is you can see bigger than a normal one, and actually, you've seen similar ones in swarms. But there is a single fat, purplish maggot that writhes once on the ground and then seems to vanish. You see above you now this swirling, or this very stable kind of, it's like a pool of mercury, and then in the middle, this circle that seems to be 10 feet wide and shows just the sky, little bits of snow falling through. Guntir, you remember the listener said you had about 2 minutes.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, all right, no time to stop. We gotta keep moving. How's everyone feeling?
Just running. I'm just like
I'm
getting
gonna-
up.
yeah,
Okay.
I've been.
As we're running, I'm gonna heal myself with 50 channel divinity.
Okay. You put your hands, and there is this kind of. And Morwen,
Anyone
you saw
else?
it before, but as this happens, you can see off in the distance to the east this crackle of purple lightning. You don't hear it, but you see it as it just goes through the inky dark clouds. And again, and now all of you can see as you're swimming and or running, kind of drifting back in an arc, this weird looking ship in the darkness. You see this tall sail, these 2 long oar-like protrusions that end. Now as it gets a little bit closer, you can see ends in 2 more sails along kind of almost like a balancing thing that comes down. In the ocean might be like a rudder, but is just exaggerated immensely. And it seems to be just kind of drifting. Morwen, for you, being very familiar with the ocean and having spent a lot of time at sea, you're familiar with the pattern of this movement. This is what happens when the wheel gets jammed all the way in one direction, and the ship is just kind of doing these big circles. But it's far off, and as the lightning dies down, it seems to be fading. You all run up to the statue, look up, it's 30 feet up, and then you see this portal swirling above. What do you want to do?
Swimming
Climb
up.
through.
Yeah, no problem. You can think yourself up still. So as you do, Guntir, you see Guntir making these kind of swimming movements as he just steadily drifts. The rest
now
of you,
it's
if
the
you want,
race. I'm climbing to get there faster
climbing.
than
no problem. You have a climb speed. You climb up, no problem.
Yeah.
Shae, you
I
can
feel like
run
you
up
could
the
just jump
statue.
through.
Running, yes.
You watch as Shae just parkours up. She grabs onto the arm that's out holding the sword, and you use it as almost a springboard, and you're up through the portal. You burst up, and below you, you see the swirling edges, and you can see the statue and the ground. And as you rise up, first of all, the cold strikes you, but not as cold as it should be. It's a little bit warmer above the clouds, but as you come to a rest a little bit to the side of this portal, Guntir, Morwen, Heinrich, you all coming up one at a time, you come upon this only 15 by 15 platform of stone. Let me pull up some sound here for you.
Am I still invisible?
You are not. As soon as you attack, you lose your
Aw.
invisibility, I believe.
No, I'm invisible for one
No,
minute.
unless it's the effect of greater invisibility. As soon as you do anything, you lose invisibility.
I have to double check, but I can't remember because I think for that it might even actually. She still might be invisible. Loose is pretty cool. Give me one sec here. I'm mastering some sound.
Yeah, definitely let me know. I mean, the description doesn't say so, but
Yeah,
you
I have to
know.
double check.
Yeah.
You emerge onto the stone platform, 15 by 15. You can see in front of you this rope ladder that swings a little bit in the wind. You can see it's anchored to the platform itself. This looks newer. It looks like it's not part of this older kind of structure. Also worth noting, Shae, as you're up here, you can actually hear, and looking up, certainly not Doppio, but a very similar species of songbird that seems to be perched on another stone platform kind of farther off. You can see this rope ladder goes up to a massive floating chunk of stone. You see buildings, you see ruins, and you see, now that you're above the cloud cover, above that, another series of almost platforms that have buildings on them, and above that more. This stretches out further and further, a very quiet city of white marble and this sort of silvery glowing metal that seems to form its seams and bind elements together. It rises up and up and up, and far beyond you can also hear these wooden, almost like wind chimes. You can actually see around. They're almost the size of kegs, but they have these intricate carvings, and in the wind they kind of clank together every now and then. But you see far beyond, hundreds and hundreds of feet away, if not further. Hard to tell the size because it's dizzying. It goes up, and already looking down, you only see clouds. You are thousands of feet in the sky. You see what looks like some kind of a cathedral-like structure. You see these points that rise up, several of them, but one large, flat one in the middle. The top of the structure is entirely formed of glass. Glass in Alberon is incredibly expensive. You see what must be hundreds and hundreds of feet of it, just forming almost a dome bound by small filaments of metal, but far, far off. Immediately in front of you is this rope ladder that seems to lead to the actual city above. And as you pull up and you are able to go, Shae, you see a foot disappear up the top of this ladder, maybe 50 feet up.
Well, here we are.
All right, you think we can get the drop on him? We're still not out of the woods yet.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I'm just laying down and panting. I'm like, oh my god.
You see beneath, on the stone, that little window into the astral sea begin to flicker at the edges.
All right, well, it's now or never.
I guess.
Start
All
climbing.
I'm gonna hold on one sec. Where is it?
Are we out of the astral sea now? Have we gone, like...
Looking around, you can see, and actually worth noting, so given the amount of time that has passed, it's like early morning. You see the sun in the sky. The sky is blue. It is cold. It is still like cold weather, cold, but it's warmer here than it is beneath the clouds, which is very strange. You can see sort of the city. You see the bottom of the city mostly above you. You can see these huge runes that are kind of carved into the bottom. Heinrich, your feature, your warlock feature that allows you to read all writing, it doesn't reshape these. They're not letters or writing necessarily. Given your arcane knowledge, you get the sense that it is magic, but this is old magic. This is not related to specific schools of magic. This is make an Arcana check, actually.
19, actually. Nice.
19. This is rune magic. This is like giant rune magic from the first age. This is before the weave was established, when Mystra sacrificed her life in a series of events during the second age, before magic was brought to Alberon by that event. The giants practiced this runic magic that Mystra had given to them and taught them how to utilize. This predates, very technically, magic. It probably behaves differently. You would imagine most magic plays by rules, but you don't know what these are. However, even at a distance, you can feel this steady sort of thrum of arcane energy. You're in a place of great magical power. And if you were to use the feature that allows you to cast Detect Magic, it would be quite bright.
Yeah. Shit. Taking all that in. Seeing Morwen's state, I'm gonna give her my potion of greater healing.
Okay. You pass over this faceted, tall bottle with a glimmering red liquid.
For you, you need this
Sure.
right now.
I down it, thinking
Okay.
that it's gonna be wine, and then I'm like, ugh.
It's like a very tart, almost juniper kind of taste.
Yeah.
But you drink it. You can regain health from that. It's a greater one.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's 3d4 plus 3.
I believe so, but I don't have it in front of me. But that sounds right to me.
How bad are you looking?
I'll tell you in just a second.
Some math is happening.
Yeah, I lost count when you asked. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
I mean, I'm gonna need
so-
a rest before I can be effective again anyways, even
I'm
a
at
short
29.
one.
So,
You're at 29.
yeah. So I'm like,
I'm not looking to fight right
alive.
now.
Yeah.
Personally, I am not looking to fight.
Uh,
I'm looking to
gonna-
rest if I can.
I don't think we have a choice.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't think we've got the time. Just rub some dirt in it. I'm gonna channel divinity, give them each 25 more.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
Okay.
all of us?
Will
or...
take.
Well, I can split, actually, if you all need health, I can split 50 among you, so...
I'll just
however you'd
die.
like.
It's fine.
Sure.
How you doing, Shae?
Bloody. Real bloody.
Oh, alright. Everyone gets 15 and some change.
So 15?
Morwen and Shae can take the
whoever
more
has the
split
most get...
5.
Yeah, whoever has the most get the last 5, however you see fit. 15...
Sure, that's how magic works.
Yeah.
Diplomatic magic.
You get some heals, you get some heals, and you get some heals.
Minorly
Great.
less
I'm
bloody.
like,
Great.
I'm pouring it out into a measuring cup to give each of them a drink of.
All right, let's go see what the situation is, and if we can pause for at least an hour for me to catch my breath and refocus my mind after that fucking bonkers trip to the astral plane, I think I would at least be more confident in helping you guys out.
Well, yes, I think we all would be, but at this point, I don't think we have that choice.
Look, we've made it this far. It's
The
now or
portal at your
never.
feet, you can see now, and it disappears. It's just stone on the ground. And your one doorway back is now gone. Looking behind you, there are kind of steps similar, like 15 feet wide, 15 feet long, that seem to drift, and each one maybe like 15 or 20 feet away from the next. And they seem to form almost a spiral down down and into the clouds and then beyond.
Is there any inkling of where we might be, given all of the talks that we've heard about the giants?
Make a
and
survival check. Make a history
being
check.
in the north, etc.,
Make a history check.
and knowing.
That's aggressive.
I missed my dice rolling box. Ooh, let's see. That's a history. 21.
21. Yeah, so I mean, thinking about all the things that you've been told recently and pulling on your immense history, your personal history, not books, you've lived it. You've heard of the giants. I mean, you've seen and fought a couple now. But specifically, you don't know a ton about the cloud giants. You know that they were followers of Mystra, and you know that they created what is probably the greatest city of the First Age, which was a city called Yorn. It's a floating city that slowly, over the centuries and millennia that it has existed, has crumbled somewhat, elements falling to the ground and forming these columns of stone that Zinni mystics actually use to meditate on. Aside from that, I mean, you know where you are. You know you're in the north. You know you're roughly about
Couple
Well,
thousand feet
you're
up.
14 miles. Well, no, you have no idea how high you are. You're above the clouds, but you're probably about 14 miles northwest of the valley of Yagor that you guys traveled through north of the River of Colors.
Okay. But yeah, Guntir wouldn't know that specifically.
Sure. You have a rough idea as to where you are.
Yeah, just like based on how much we've traveled.
Yeah.
Could this be the ruins of
Shae, I
Yorn?
think when I was reading through my bag, I found another one, another potion of healing, just a regular one. That's my last one.
Alright, are we
I
all...
just give it to Shae. I'm just like, Shae, look, you need this, and I need to conserve my abilities in combat, so just take this, please.
Keep it.
Why? No, you're hurt.
Are we all... How... Oh,
What do you guys want to do?
Well,
gotta
does anyone
move.
else need this?
Well,
Shae, you
I'm-
should take.
save it for when we're in a
Climbing.
real tough spot. We got business to attend to.
Yeah, but Shae, why not?
You think there's a way of talking our way out? Still?
No, absolutely not.
who would we talk to? There's
don't
no one
know.
else here.
Well, we
No, when we get up there, there's gonna be a bunch of monks.
I mean,
Well,
so we're
let's
on just
see.
like a little platform, and the only way to go is down these steps or like up this rope ladder.
You could jump off the platform. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really
that-
up to
obviously
you.
that too. But I mean, like
It seems
immediately
like the
around,
two-
like
yes.
yeah.
I'm gonna try to think my way up the rope. Yeah, I'm gonna try to think my way up and then be like, and start climbing.
Okay, Gunter
After
begins to
Shae.
climb.
Well,
Shae's climbing.
Shae did, prior.
Shae, then Gunter. Anybody else?
Me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Morwen, you go up, and Heinrich, you follow. The four of you, hand over hand, scale this rope ladder, suspended between two stone platforms, thousands of feet in the air, clouds beneath. As you get midway up, it is where it is most slack, and as the wind buffets you, you sway on this thing. The weight of all four of you causing it to move more than is comfortable, but you do make it to the top. As you crest this, give me 1 second, let me pull this up. You come to what looks almost like it's like a 20-foot wide, 35-foot long platform. And Gunter, even before you get there, your eyes take in the stone. It's this golden yellow stone, like a painting of a sunrise. It is this light cast of yellow. You can see definitely not from around here. You can see on the east and west sides drops off into clouds, and then ahead there is a towering 45-foot tall gate with silvered iron that stands in front of a massive staircase. Each step 50 feet long, each step 5 feet wide and 5 feet tall, clearly made for giants, and of a similar yellow stone. The sides of these steps have these similar kind of silvered iron fencing that serves almost to keep people from falling off. It too is 45 feet tall, with these jagged patterns between each pike that serve as a support. 50 feet above the fourth step of that staircase, you see, maybe like 30 feet away from the gate itself, there is a large sphere of strange angular glyphs that seem to be made of wisps of cloud that rise up and burst and then reform at the bottom. What would you like to do?
Are there any like side buildings or places that appear
Make
to
a
be
perception check.
uninhabited?
I'm looking around for
That's
any signs
25.
of enemies.
Make a perception check, Gunter. Shae, as you look around for buildings, signs of anything that's inhabited or not inhabited, you can see these stairs go up a fair distance, but at the top you can see edges of kind of it. It goes maybe like it's 20 steps, but it's still like 100 feet of stairs. But you see broken bits of buildings kind of rising above where the staircase cuts off your vision. You would imagine there is definitely ruins up there, if not full buildings. But as this place rises up and expands out, you can see tons. As it gets closer to this cathedral-like building, it is more and more intact. But you can see the first two layers of this platform. It seems to almost rise by platform, separated by sky. You don't see them joined in any way, worth noting. But you can see there are, hundreds of buildings.
Any reasonably close to where we are?
By this gate, up the stairs, there is quite a number, yeah.
Okay.
Gunter, what did you roll?
22.
22. You look around, you see Shae, looks pretty hurt. You can see bruises forming. You can see dried blood in her hair. You look over, you see Morwen, some of the fur kind of matted down with gore and ichor. Not all hers, but most. You can see Heinrich looks pretty tired. You see off in the distance a little bird, a little Northern Dominion songbird just flying, little dapples of blue and gray on the wings. That's it.
Does it look like that bird is watching us?
Make an insight check.
Bird doing it here. That's a insight. I think it's a dirty 20. Just double check the modifier. But yeah. Gunter's got decent insight.
What did you roll? It's a bird.
18. Yeah, it's a.
You watch as the bird.
It's a 27.
Okay, as the bird up, you can see it
That's just
kind of
bad.
flutter and land. You see elements of broken twigs or other things. It seems like maybe there's a nest up there. It is not there for you.
Alright.
I'm gonna start making my way stealthily over to the stairs.
Make a stealth check. There is a gate between you and the stairs.
I'm gonna
I'm following.
That's
Shae
a
whenever-
natural 20.
Very nice.
I'm gonna just summon Nod to do a quick like scan for where there's any activity.
Okay. You
Just a
take
quick. I
Nod.
don't want her to go far. I don't want her to be noticed.
This owl appears. You see the eyes, these almost teal, before it fades into just a fairly normal-looking owl. Where do you want the owl to go?
Just kind of up, keeping near me, but get a good vantage point to see if there's any activity visible and how close it is.
Okay.
I don't want it, basically anywhere that I feel like it wouldn't be seen. Because I don't want it to like take a whole pass over the island or whatever.
Make a perception check with Nod.
Oh, want to go up from there? Hey, natural 20.
Nice.
19 and a 20. So
That's really good.
Yeah.
So you can see Nod.
What does that include that?
The owl just takes off, and almost as soon as it does, you close your eyes, you look through, and you can see this strange glimmer. It's as if the detect magic almost has like a ghost that travels for just a brief second, and you can see above this fence there is certainly a magical aura. You would imagine crossing over it or going over this gate, not traveling through, probably, and your eyes are drawn to this kind of cloud bubble bursting sphere, will probably provoke some kind of a reaction. And as Nod kind of continues to go around, you don't cross the gate knowing this unless you would like to.
Nope.
But you go up and kind of get a better look at what's above. You can see there is like what looks like almost like a small version of a coliseum, still quite tall, like 80 feet tall, but only one floor. You see elements of pillars that rise up, most of it crumbled in towards the middle. You see right at the front, at the top of the staircase, what looks like a big wedge-shaped building. There is, with a natural 20, you see within this, there's like a small slit. It looks almost like a World War II style pillbox if it was triangular towards the front. You see these like little slits in it, and you can see through them as Nod flies by what looks like a huge 6-foot tall iron sword, slightly rusted, laying against the interior of a wall. And as your attention is drawn to that, you see another glimmer, although hard to tell. It's on the floor of that space. You see what looks like a broken amphitheater. You see, dozens and dozens of buildings. You see, I would say with the natural 20, up there on that first platform of broken buildings and ruins, you see hastily hidden, not very well, beneath broken bits of stone, orange and blue poking out. You see a hand, lifeless, kind of cast aside. It looks like it was just dragged off the path and had some stones thrown over it hastily. Above that, you see there aren't any connections to it, but these higher up platforms where the buildings are slightly more intact, you can see 3-story stone houses that rise hundreds of feet up into the air, massive structures. You can see here and there these runes. I would actually say you see one that's sparking on the ground. Little bits of electrical energy seem to burst off the top of it here and there. You see many things. You see a pair of monks walking through the street, dressed in purple and black. You see...
Where are they heading?
At the moment, with the natural 20, you can see they're heading slightly from west to south, not approaching you, but they were going to walk across where you guys would go if you were going up the stairs. Still probably like 100 feet into the ruins. They seem to be in like a patrolling kind of pattern. They're looking out. For what it is worth, because you're seeing pretty much everything at this point. The pair of monks, one of them is a halfling, and one of them seems to be... they have a hood up, so it's kind of hard to tell, but maybe an elf, maybe a human. But, medium-sized humanoid.
Is that the only activity that I see? I don't see like a base of operations or anything.
So again, you can't cross over this fence that goes
fine.
around most of the city. So from a distance, kind of hard to tell. I would say you can see if you're willing to go far enough. And this is, you'll have to go thousands of feet. You'll lose visual contact with Nod.
That's all right.
So, that's pretty much what you see.
Okay, so I'll recall Nod and recount that information to everyone and then say, it looks like there's a patrol. I feel like if we can hide until it passes.
And given what you given what you saw, I would say, I mean, there's dozens of broken buildings and things to hide in up above. Yeah. Down here, you're kind of exposed. There's this gate in front of you, but then just kind of sky behind you.
Okay, so then we should make it through the gate safely, maybe deactivating it, unlocking it somehow, something like that, because there is some sort of magical trigger that would happen if we tried to climb it. We need to enter as if we lived here, I think.
Suggestion.
And then take shelter in a building as fast as we can.
That is my goal.
I think we can take on this guard. Maybe we can get some information out of him.
Not
No,
yet,
no
Guntir.
more of that. Guntir, subtlety this time.
That's what I'm saying. We be subtle. If
No,
it's only
wrong.
if it's only
approach-
two of them.
They'll notice
you
they're
pr-
missing. Leave them be.
Don't approach them. Unwise. So let's try to get this
catch
gate
them
open.
off guard before
We're
they
in
can
no
alert.
state to keep going, Guntir, like this. We need to rest for just a moment.
Shae and Morwen, as you guys quietly crouch down and approach the gate, you can see it is this kind of silvered metal, although looking closely, it's hard to tell because the morning sun makes it pretty bright. And worth noting, Shae, you are exhausted. But this seems to shed a faint glow. What do you guys want to do with this gate? You were right in front of it. It stands like almost 20 feet tall.
Is there a lock?
There is, yeah. You can see right in the front. It's not like a lock necessarily, but you can see what looks like a square. There is a rune smaller than the ones that Heinrich you've seen. And again, it doesn't reshape. It seems to be arcane in nature. If you would like, you can make an investigation check.
I mean, I'll come and take a crack at trying to figure out how this gate works. Yeah.
Okay, make either an investigation or an arcana check.
I would like to
Investigation.
check for any sort of like alarms or traps that might go off if we're.
Make an investigation check, Guntir.
I got a 15.
Okay. You come up to this gate and you can see there is this kind of arcane-looking glyph, and as you get close to it,
Can I
you
even
look at it.
detect magic somehow too? Just to,
You
like,
cast detect magic, and
get
there
the
is this
school.
faint divination school that seems to emanate from it. Very faint. This is not a powerful magic, but as you cast magic and you look up, you can see that orb, almost blinding. And from it, there is certainly an evocation school.
Right.
You would imagine that is not something that you want to mess around with too much. But
But yeah, to see
you kind
how it
of-
works or whatever.
yeah, you kind of look around, and looking at this panel, you can see it does slide. You could slide the stone aside with the rune on it or the glyph on it. You don't know necessarily with a 15 what that will do, but if there is a lock, you would imagine that's where it is.
Anyone else any ideas? This is definitely
the-
some kind of arcane lock.
Oh. Is it
I got an 18 looking for traps
Sure.
and alarms.
So Guntir, as you kind of look around, you can see Heinrich says that it seems to be some kind of an arcane lock. And looking at that sigil, that glyph, maybe not a lock. That seems to be more of like a hard to tell. It's not like a trap necessarily. It seems to be maybe almost like what you would need to activate it or open it. But you think about, I would say specifically for you, you would think back to Mudtown. There are, in the Mudtown Alchemy Association, I don't know if you remember this, but you were unable to open a lock because there was an arcane component to it that you could not get to. I can't remember who of you it was. One of you just broke it and found that there was a lock beneath it, almost like a failsafe. So you would imagine, and hearing Heinrich talk about the sliding panel, there's probably a lock underneath.
Okay.
I'm rolling up my fur sleeves. So you just
Okay.
see bear. No, I'm just kidding.
Just tattooed skin.
Just like,
And I'm just
So
taking out my wires and stuff, just being like,
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, hold on a sec. It's not a lock, but there's one under it, I think. It's like a panel that you kind of like, almost like a fire alarm panel or something.
Similar, but you would imagine it
But-
slides, like a
yeah.
screen door almost.
And that's the thing that's exuding the divination, the panel itself, not the.
Yeah, Heinrich said it seemed to be kind of casting a slight divination glow to it.
All right. I'm going to dispel magic as I try to slide open this panel.
Okay, at what level?
I think base level.
That's
which
1?
I think it's
3.
2. Is it 3?
It's
3? Okay.
I think it's
One,
3.
two.
That makes sense. It is 3. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so roll a d20 for me.
Ooh, dirty 20.
Okay. Guntir, you gesture towards it and cast Dispel Magic as you slide it aside. The stone to the side, and you see the rune on it crack and then crumble away. As you do, and you think about the divination magic, you get the sense that had you cast what school is Dispel Magic in actually?
It is
Abjuration?
abjuration.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get the sense that had you cast a divination school spell, even a cantrip, that would have unlocked this gate. However, as you slide it aside, you see a gleaming steel lock, untouched with age. It is well built. You see a large keyhole. Morwen, you now see there is a lock.
All right, have at it. And I'm gonna pat Morwen on the back as I push her forward to the lock. Guidance.
Guidance, sure.
All right. Sorry, excuse me.
I thought the
So that-
divination magic was gonna be like a
Like
an alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
27.
27.
Guidance.
Morwen, you roll up your fur sleeves, you take your wires out, and skillfully, deftly, you move them through the lock. You hear as you do this, elements of the lock shift and move, and as you put it in, you feel like a gear slide aside, and the wire that you're using, tink, just snaps off. You are unable to pick this lock. It was a DC 28. That was actually
Oh, wow.
pretty amazing. Yeah, this is a hard lock to pick. It would have been a lot easier to open it the other way. I would say,
I'm
Guntir,
not
you
used to
know,
it.
yeah, Guntir, you thinking about this now though? I mean, this is Yorn. This is this ancient giant city made by the cloud giants that were followers of Mistra, the goddess of magic. And you're guessing magic was probably used in day-to-day life here. This was not a place where magic was forbidden in its items like Sarentil. This is not a place that even practices it in small ways. You remember Far Shore, these zipping paper airplanes of advertisements, essentially. This is a place where magic was used every day. And so casting a quick spell to open a lock, no problem. And thinking about that, maybe that will benefit you in the future, just in terms of how you interact with the environment, looking at this difficult to pick lock. It is steel. You would imagine you could break it.
I'm gonna try to smash it now. Be like, well, sometimes you just gotta brute force. I'm gonna
Sure.
take out. I guess I only have a handful of daggers. I'm gonna try to jam the dagger in, and then use it like a wedge, basically.
Okay,
Chisel.
make an attack roll.
Oh, I got a 20, and I'm going to use my channel divinity to make it plus 10.
Okay, it's a stationary piece of metal, so the AC is not especially high. So you certainly
Oh, I guess
you hit
yeah.
the shit out of it. Roll damage for that.
Yeah.
You see Guntir all of a sudden laser focus on this lock. The two eyes, both vaguely lazy, are all of a sudden very hard at work. And Guntir, you focus in, you wedge the
What
dagger in.
is it D4 damage with
Yeah.
Yeah.
attack?
Dagger's D4.
All right, that's a that's a 4.
It's a 4. Tink, and it sinks into the lock. More when you see your little piece of wire fall out and onto the ground. You see sparks emit from this lock. It is pretty badly damaged. Guntir, you just take a second and pound your palm into it, and it does the last HP of damage that you needed. It cracks. You can see the metal splinter a little bit on the bottom, and tugging it, the lock mechanism falls off, and you see just a gap in the door. You put your hand in and pull. It's really heavy, but you can move it.
All right.
It's like an immensely heavy gate, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna slowly open it. Be like, after you.
You see Guntir pull with one hand, and you have to put both on and put your shoulders into it, but you open it 3 feet. It is quiet on the hinges. And in front of you, the staircase ascends to the city of Yorn.
Is that lock still like fixable in working order after what I've done?
You pick it up. The metal itself is rent up the bottom part. You don't know. You could take it with you and try to fix it later if you want.
Yeah, it's a good looking lock. It's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Like giant lock.
Looting begins.
Yeah, how big is this lock?
I've got nothing.
You've nowhere to
okay.
keep it either.
It's like the size of a shoebox, but a little
Put it
bit
in my
broader.
back pocket. Just have a
They took
big
your
lock.
pockets too.
You hear it as the fabric rips.
Okay.
So if you want, you can add one, we'll call it just for now, Cloud Giant Lock.
Okay.
Making my way stealthily up the stairs.
Yeah.
Stealth
In,
check. Or keep your stealth check from before, that's fine.
yeah.
I follow.
In and
I guess
following
I'm gonna
stealthily as
stealthy,
possible, trying to
yeah.
like get to a hiding place, basically.
Heinrich and
Close
Guntir
as
make a
possible.
stealth check. And then Shae, do me a favor, and as you advance, roll for me a d20.
We got stealth, not bad. Not bad, but not great. 13.
Okay.
How's a
With
19?
disadvantage, is not bad.
Okay.
I
Guntir?
got a 10.
So you guys quietly make your way up the stairs. Heinrich, you kind of flatten your hands against the scales, trying to depress the sound as much as you can. Guntir, as the wind blows through, and you look around, there are elements of actual, like, little tiny bits of yellow-green grass that are growing between the seams. So maybe pollen from these elements, but something goes through, and you just start sneezing and coughing. But the rest of you very quiet.
It's
You
windy
make
up
your way
here.
up the stairs. It is. Yeah, Gunter's like talking most of the way up. But you make your way step by step. You have to like jump and climb each step. It's 5 feet up. But one by one, you climb all 20 stairs. You look back down, and you've traveled 100 feet. But as you get to the top, you said a 19, Shae?
Yeah.
You see the first thing that comes to your vision, 20 feet away, there's a ruin of a structure. Crumbled stone that's been down. You can see just that hand that Nod had seen outstretched. You see bits of orange garment that lead up to the shoulder, which disappears under the stones. Based on the kind of ruddy complexion that is only a little bit now turning like this blue-gray, they haven't been dead for that long. Beyond that, you see what looks like almost a hat shell, like an outdoor amphitheater, lined with black slate on the inside, but it looks as if the dome part has been crushed inward, leaving mostly rubble. But I would say, given your passive perception, you could see there are bits of ash and this kind of marble that's blackened. You see a gap that perhaps, for a giant, certainly too small to climb into, but underneath the rubble, there might be a space to slip into.
I like the idea of that. I want a space that looks like it hasn't been touched much. Or is largely
Okay,
ignored.
so looking across the space, so I would say what jumps out at you looking for something that hasn't been destroyed, there are elements that look like this place was attacked. You see damage to, and most of the structures here ruined. You can see probably the thing that looks the most untouched is the guardhouse, this wedge-shaped building right at the top of the stairs, 45 feet away when you get up to the top. You see a slit in it, and you see the hilt of a 6-foot-tall sword. Heinrich, you would know this is where there was a glint on the floor. You see, on the other side, you would know there is a big door, rusted, probably locked.
That's too obvious.
That's 45 feet away. There's like 100 feet away is that hat shell. Maybe 45 feet off and to the east, you can see that body. There are more broken buildings behind. You can continue if you want.
Any sign of the two patrolmen?
You look around quickly. Make a perception check.
I'm gonna very
That's a
silently
21.
motion to Heinrich toward the hatch cell.
Okay. 21.
I'll
Yeah.
message back, be like, is that where you want to go?
Seems the safest.
Okay. Seems
Yeah.
like a good place we're going.
As you guys mentally have this conversation, Gunter, you look around. You see Morwen kind of looking. You see Heinrich and Shae seeming to have like a silent conversation, like their eyes are talking almost. You see no sign of monks aside from whatever is buried in the rubble off to the east. But Shae, you start walking towards this hat shell. Heinrich, you start walking. Gunter, Morwen.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow, but I'm like, let that patrol go.
Okay. You one by one make your way to the ruins of this hat shell. As you approach, you can see there is elements that are kind of crumbled in rubble of black slate and white marble. But Shae, you see the seam. You have to duck in and kind of crawl through it, even you. But as you peek your head in, there is a space where the rubble has collapsed, forming maybe only about 6 feet tall, 10 feet wide, but a little cavern where the rubble has all collapsed and left a tiny space. The only thing blocking the path here is a single piece of wood. It looks pretty weathered. It hasn't been moved. You would imagine moving this and that space inside, fairly safe against the elements, fairly safe against being seen.
Cool. I'm crawling in.
Okay, you move the wood aside and you climb in out of the wind. Everybody else follow?
I'm gonna dismiss nod, be like, all right, we're going back inside, sorry.
Disappears.
And then
I'm gonna crawl my way through.
Okay. One by one, you pack yourselves into this tiny space. And as you do, you can listen to the wind kind of decrease outside. It's a little bit warmer here. You can still hear every now and then these wooden wind chimes and a little bit of birds, but it's quieter here. You wait for a moment. You don't hear any patrols. And because it is 10:12, this is where we're going to take a quick break. But you guys survived the listener, which is great. It is 10:12. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back at 10:22. We'll see you then. Oh, wait. Don't break us out yet. Are we still here?
We're still here.
Also, this is our 60th session. So we're going to give away a Hero Forge, $50 Hero Forge gift card. We will say type finger in chat, and for anybody who types the word finger, we will draw at the beginning of the next half of our session. We'll announce who wins, and then afterwards we'll send you out a message with all the details so you can get your very own Hero Forge full color mini. Super cool. So just type finger into the chat. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Bye. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Sorry we took a minute longer than we meant to, but had a few technical issues. We think we got the music kind of sorted out now, which is great. I saw 4 people who were in, so really quick. Guntir, or Matt, can you roll a d4 for me, please?
Okay.
We're doing live. Shit.
Yeah.
Now, let me so that everyone can see.
Well, no one can see
Nobody
that.
can see
Yeah.
that.
Just read us the number,
Read
Matt.
it.
Oh, it's a 3.
A 3. All right. So, Talonel, congratulations
Oh,
on
shit.
a $50 Hero Forge gift certificate. We'll send you that after the show. For everybody else, thank you so much for joining us and supporting us in this journey of playing D&D for a very long time. And this campaign this is probably now, I think, the longest campaign that I've run successively.
Longest
So
anything I've been part of, for sure, aside from
yeah.
college and jobs.
Yeah, for sure. So this is super cool. It's been really fun, and we hope that we can continue to do it. We have a lot of cool stuff in the wings, and once we can figure out a couple logistical things, we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff coming. But the support, all of the subscriptions and the bits and the cheering and all that kind of stuff, it's super helpful. It lets us do a lot of cool stuff. It should probably sometime next month allow us to get some 3D printers and start doing some more 3D terrain kind of stuff on a larger scale, which for me is, I think I have literally developed carpal tunnel from drawing maps for this campaign. Like my hands hurt in the cold now, and that didn't used to happen. So it'll be really great. I appreciate all of the help. Thank you guys so much for just joining us and for being a part of this. It's really cool. But with that, let me bring you guys back into our adventure. Where are we here? We're in Yorn.
It's really hard for me to hear that song and not go straight to our theme.
I know, but for where you guys are, you don't hear so much.
No, I know. It's just it always is one after the other. So.
Yeah, it does feel like that. But at the moment, all of you find yourselves within this sort of the crumbled remains of this large hat shell kind of thing. Now that you're in the space, you guys can smell old ashes and burnt, charred wood. At some point, this was a place where there was frequently a fire. You can see bits of old, dried, almost like charcoal, the remains of timber that had been burned. And in this space, that makes up like one side of the wall, and the rest is just rubble that has collapsed into this space. But for the moment, you guys feel relatively out of sight.
All right. What's the plan?
I'm kind of wedge the wood back in front of it almost so it obstructs most of the view in through the hole.
No problem. You wedge it back in place and push, and you can see the wood crumble a little bit as it pushes into place very securely between some stones.
I want to leave a little bit of a gap so we can see like one eyeball out, but
You kind of pull it a little bit to the side so you can see.
I'm going to approach Shae. Just
Approach, like lean in.
Well, that's just. I mean, more in approaches only. Approaches or creeps. So I'm gonna just like creep over to Shae. And, how you doing? You and the big fella back there seem to have a lot of respect for each other. I'm sorry about killing him.
he was a respected master in his own right, serving as the listener.
Anyone else notice that maggot?
Oh yeah.
Similar looking maggot. Heinrich.
Yeah, we know. We already know. They basically told us point blank that they're working with or for or towards Azra. It's not surprising. It just sucks to see that it's that close to being realized. Because if, I don't know, this guy gets...
Well, that guy's dead.
In the... You should... No, not... This guy, the Druxa.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that power and potentially using it to free her. I mean, Shae, you remember from the books back at the Lorebinder Academy. They sealed her away because she tried to overtake all the gods or something, right? So, like, we don't want that getting out.
reading that book, you would have kind of got the, and actually beyond just reading the book, and Heinrich, you having touched the entity that is the portent, you would know there is this kind of slow drive towards eventually finding. Azra wants to find her way beyond Calypso's. Currently, she's imprisoned within that demiplane. This legion of Asimir raised up to fight her and repel her in what is essentially a constant war. At the moment, it seems as if, from given what you know, Heinrich, they're probably working towards either uniting with or in some way contacting Azra. And given the presence of this maggot, you would imagine some form of contact has already been made.
Right. Which is just a terrible sign.
So...
And to sever that connection, I have no idea how, unless it is just a physical thing we can destroy, because we're quite good at that. I don't know, short of killing everyone.
You have the most experience with it, so...
We're pretty good at that.
Barely good at that.
I mean, it just took out the listener.
Yeah.
And,
It is a pale shadow to what Jarax's power is, if he is truly awake.
Yeah, but he's not here. It sounded like they weren't working with him.
He is here.
He's certainly here.
You sure?
I would feel confused and shocked if you weren't.
Well,
I mean, we're not trying to go,
What
fight
is
Jaraxa, are we?
what is even our aim now, other than hopefully just a matter of sabotage and then
I thought
escape?
I thought we were getting a bunch of stuff, but there's more?
yeah. Wait, what about stuff? The staff that you want.
That
That's the-
reliquary will be with them.
And
Getting it back will be easy.
ostensibly my belongings as well. But,
The rest of your belongings, who knows where they were.
Well, hopefully they're with the other stuff, because otherwise, what did we even come here for?
The reliquary and the reliquary only that happen to be in your possession, and henceforth I shall keep in mind.
Well,
That is
it could have happened to
not for-
anyone, okay?
Not anyone.
Oh,
who
it's
would
not
run
the
so
time to be
foolhardy ahead
placing
of the
blame.
curve.
Not the time to be placing blame.
Correct. It is the time to be resting so that way we can get this mission done.
Regardless, we need to find out where they're keeping everything, find the reliquary, retrieve it, and find a way off this island. I think, aside from if we can stop or sever some sort of connection to from Azra, if we can even figure that, but at least the staff seems to be tied to the greater goal here of Aurelian
If
Star.
we can get Era
Well-
out as well, that would also be a benefit, but
So you want us to kill
Right.
Era?
Era.
no.
No.
Escape with Era.
Oh, yeah. Era, right.
Well, if it's stealing you need, I'm rolling up my cat sleeves again. You just point me in the right direction.
I feel like both of these tasks will be difficult.
Well,
You mean at
we don't have much other choice. You gotta make difficult choices in life. You don't get to be 287 years old without making difficult choices. That's why I'm here in the first place. Chose wrong.
To the point. To the point.
Wow.
Thank you for that confidence. To the point of.
Thanks
you
for
are
the pep
free to
talk.
leave any time, Guntir.
I mean, where am I gonna go?
To your stuff, of course.
Well, yeah.
Seems to be what you.
And it just so
You're
happens
driven
that our stuff is together.
Right.
So
So
speaking of
So-
difficult decisions, what do we do right now?
that's what I was going to bring up. Is someone mentioned that guard? I don't know. That Eric Cochran, who said that they're not quite ready. Ready for what, and how much time is it before they are? Do we have any idea of what they were referring to? Maybe the gateway is that
I
it.
need more time.
Heinrich, now that you are within the gated confines, you would imagine you could put Nod up in the air. You would imagine if you saw more of those kind of drifting cloud-like orbs, you wouldn't want to get too close to those. But you could probably fly not out a little bit more if you wanted.
Yeah. I'm aiming for at least a short rest before I do anything else. That's all
Okay.
I'm saying to you guys.
And I believe that is kind of the consensus, right?
That would be beneficial.
Okay, so
All right, just quick power nap, and we gotta get moving. I think.
you each find some semblance of comfort for the next hour. You can all mark off short rest. You can spend any hit dice that you would like to use. Is there anything
Might as
that you
well.
guys want to do over the course of that hour?
I guess formulating a plan.
Also, everyone still gets the bonus 10 temporary hit points from the short rest for me, which is why
Oh.
it's beneficial to do as many of these as possible.
Nice.
Yes, sir. That brings me down to
6.
Sec here. Six of those means I'm at 5. Okay. Cool. Got it all squared away. During that time, I want to ask the book
sure.
questions.
Okay, so while everybody rests and seems to kind of gather their energy, you can see Shae seeming to concentrate on the, like, just smorgasbord of injuries across her body. You pull out this book, it's a fairly simple book, and what do you ask it?
What is the safest way for us to get off of this floating island named, what was it called again?
Yorn.
Yorn. Us specifically, and then I'll write our names down too, so that there's no question about
Okay.
terrestrial land grabbing type of people cannot
The
quickly
people-
jump off the edge.
Sure. You can see the celestial shimmer down into the page, and above words appear. They read almost like a ticker from left to right. There are stairs behind you, and there is sky ahead. Both will lead you from Yorn.
Okay, so
It
all
seems
the
to
way
kind of
back.
shimmer.
Okay.
You get the sense that those are two possible paths off of Yorn or out of Yorn.
Right. One may not necessarily get back down to the ground, but hey, whatever. The next one is. Shit. Does anyone else have any burning questions?
Yeah, what's Jirax's weakness? Like kryptonite or something?
Yeah, how can we defeat the inevitable foe in front of us?
Where's Gunter's shit? Stuff.
Yeah, where's my stuff?
I keep swearing.
Where's our stuff?
In
Our stuff.
particular, where's the reliquary?
Yeah,
that's
our
Where is the
stuff.
reliquary that contains? Where is the reliquary that Guntir used to have in his possession that was taken from him?
Us.
Words.
From us.
The words shimmer as you write them, however you write them, into the page. And what emerges is the reliquary has not been opened yet, but it rests within the apertures. You would know in this vague kind of way that that's a proper noun.
Okay, so it's a place here.
Are you asking that as your third question?
No, I'm going to ask where. Yeah, well, more specifically, how do we get from where we are to the apertures, specifically, where
Okay.
the reliquary is held?
Will you
I like the
draw
idea of a
the map?
celestial comma and then specifically.
Yeah, I'm just trying to basically
Semicolons
like
and...
how do we get from here to there, specifically that location, to specifically that object?
The celestial shimmers back. You have passed through the gates of Mistra. up the grand stairs of Yorn, you now rest upon the Krajark, which shimmers and translates to you to the Holder. Past the Healer's Court, north of the guardhouse, up a step, by the Hearth Hall, through the foreboding abodes and by a sparking rune. Step upon the steel rings to pass from one step to the next. Beware the tomb, but beyond, by Skydrup and the apertures.
Okay. I'm going to copy all that down,
Okay, yeah, you jot it down.
and that will hopefully translate into an email later.
Sure,
'Cause that
yeah,
was a
I'll
lot of
send that.
proper names that I was like going to start writing. I was like, that's a lot of proper names.
I'll send you that in
I
your
can't shorthand that.
in your lore email, but just so that you were aware, the word Skydrup, it rearranges. This is probably, you don't know the languages, but this is probably Giantese. As it shifts, it literally translates into Skydrop, for what it's worth.
That doesn't sound great.
No, this whole place is treacherous. Alright, well, I think I got our path. We just have to
Alright,
look
now
for
we-
these places that will hopefully fit their descriptions as they were named.
We should do this
Well, are
as
we-
stealthily and
we doing it?
quietly as possible.
And I kind of side-eye both of you guys, like,
Yeah,
I didn't say it.
I think if you guys go ahead, we'll proceed in short bursts of it is all safe to pass, kind of.
So like one building to the next.
Yeah.
And that building, they go ahead and then it's all clear, and then you guys go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
my plan that I would relay to everyone.
What do you guys
We'll
think?
be as motionless as possible until we have to run.
I think sounds good. Just a matter of, Shae, do you want to lead, or would you like me to lead?
I can lead.
Guntir,
No,
you cannot
not
lead.
you,
No,
Guntir.
don't be silly. You're the,
Now that
We'll
we've
s-
indulged you enough, I don't want to lead.
Let's take turns, Morwen. Let's,
Indulged me.
Alright, we'll alternate.
we'll alternate.
Well, one
I
more-
feel so indulged. Wow.
That being
We're getting
said,
your stuff.
Our stuff.
Rocks, paper, scissors for first watch?
I'll take the first one. I know who I'm looking for.
Warren looks sad, but Shae, you turn, you move the wood aside. You take one last look back, you see these big cat eyes, and then you walk out into the wind.
Before
Um,
fully emerging out, I do want to kind of take as much of a look as I can to see who specifically and what's around.
Okay. Make a perception check. You get to the edge and you look out.
That's a 27.
You think to what Heinrich has said. You don't see anybody. You don't see any scouts. You do again see, now looking out to your left, you can see the hand of what looks like a mountain elf. Not Era. This is certainly like a male. You can see larger, a little bit more callous, probably not a mystic. But then beyond that, you would imagine, should you go out and around the sort of hat shell that you were in, you're looking for something called the Healer's Court. You look and you can see what looks like, and you had seen it before, this tall Colosseum-like building. Looking at it and really kind of taking it in, you can see there is a bone within there. There's these geometric designs around the wall. You can see, that's kind of all you can see in that building. You see what you can imagine is the guardhouse. That's in front of you now. Further behind you, if you were to continue out past whatever that Colosseum-like building is, you can see what looks like and you had heard this previously, this is right on the edge. Stepping beyond it would bring you just off the edge and into the sky. But on the edge, you can see maybe 20 feet wide, a very large steel ring laid into the stone.
Would I recall something like that being something that Heinrich had said we were moving toward?
He had said at one point that stepping on the rings is a way to proceed.
Okay.
And I would say you can put two and two together.
Sure.
These rings seem to connect these large platforms of buildings.
Sure. Okay. So I want to make my way stealthily to the next secure-looking building between here and there.
Okay, that seems to be that Colosseum-like building. So you
Okay.
scamper across. Make a stealth check.
That's 17.
Okay. Most of you are familiar with Shae, can kind of follow her track. But to others, Shae, you feel pretty hidden. You dart out across the stone, your feet lightly carrying you. You keep to the rubble and the ruins as much as you can. Your small body finding gaps in areas that are easy to hide into. You see this building in front of you, and you slip into a nook. Very small, maybe 4 feet tall, a crack in the stone. No larger than the space that you would actually just emerge from. Within this space, there's a huge, what looks like a giant bone. There's no flesh on it. The bone itself is like yellowed and old. You can see pock marks where the bone is actually crumbled away. But there's a huge ring the size of a dinner plate. Weirdly thick. You can see this is similar kind of geometric patterns on it. Given your size and its size at this scale, you can see small gaps. You would imagine that this thing is hollow. And you see, as the sun from the now getting a little bit closer to noon, you can see a glint of something like a blue shimmering something within this ring. Looks almost like a powder or it's hard to tell. Otherwise, within this building, it's just sort of rubble. Parts of the ceiling are in, so you can actually see just shafts of sunlight. No people.
Wait till Heinrich gets here.
So one by one, you guys cross. You guys go over. You all gather. Okay, make a stealth check.
Whee. Oh, nice. 16.
26.
Okay.
6.
You all make your way relatively quietly. Then you hear behind you, "Hey, where did everybody go?" And just Guntir looking for people. You can see just moving stones down as he looks for people. Eventually, Guntir, you find your way to the rest of the group.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, exactly. One by one, you guys make your way through. You come to the space, you see what looks like a giant finger bone, and then this ring about the size of a dinner plate with hollow.
Point out the fact that the ring is blue or has blue stuff to Heinrich.
Kind of look in. Detect magic?
Starting with that, we'll also...
Sure. Magic, as you use detect magic and that glyph appears in your eye, there is no magic coming off of this salve necessarily. It's weird. There is this, it's not like a glow. You're not seeing like a school of magic. It almost feels, make a medicine check.
12.
It looks like some goop, like almost like metallic-y clay or mud.
What is it that you wanted me to notice about this?
Oh no, it's blue. It's weird.
I want to look at the weird blue stuff.
Is it
Make a
alive?
medicine check.
Blue goop.
Watch me get a 20 and just blow all of your minds with like my random medicine knowledge.
There's a scientific term for this.
You were one die face away from 20.
Tis a 6.
Yeah. You look at it and it looks like you've seen elements of like makeup. It looks almost like a big goop of like a really, really unflattering blue eyeshadow, maybe. Bits of glitter kind of in it.
Ah, guys, it's just makeup.
Are you sure?
No.
Make a medicine check, Gunter.
At this point now we need a natural 20.
It's getting harder.
It's gonna get even harder. That's a 9.
Gunter, you get close to it, and it's interesting. It seems like perhaps you've come across a number of narcotics and various things in your past, and it doesn't look like bunta. It doesn't have the same kind of crystalline. Oh, okay. Smelling it, you can smell it's like an orange kind of tang, almost citrus, but a little bit less pleasant.
Orange curacao.
Yeah, actually,
Blue
very.
curacao.
I was thinking of blue carousel specifically, but yeah, very similar.
I'm gonna.
No,
No,
Guntir,
don't.
what do you?
As you lick it,
We
a
already
little bit
said-
of
I
powder
didn't lick it. I
hydrates.
didn't lick it.
Okay, sure.
You're
I
just
stopped
threatening?
right as I was about to.
You
because
see the
they said
tongue,
no.
a micrometer from this powder.
I was gonna see what it was.
I'm gonna smack it away. Don't eat makeup.
Licking it.
Off her finger.
That's not how you get prettier.
Where from here? Where from
Morwen,
here, based
you're
on my
next.
description?
Wipe it off my finger.
I don't want to eat that.
No,
No, not-
you're
Rip it off your finger.
first.
Oh, of course, of course.
We're moving, and I'm
Alright.
gonna kind of like basically gesture in the direction
yeah.
we're moving.
Come
So
on.
Shae leans out and she points, and you follow her finger, and you would imagine you're looking for what looks like. Heinrich said something about foreboding abodes. Make a perception check.
Spooky house.
16.
Okay, so you follow Shae's. You follow Shae's gesture towards the steel ring that's embedded in the stone. You see maybe 50, 60 feet away on the next platform, up about 20 feet, right on the edge, a similar ring. Beyond that, maybe 20 feet, and you can really only see the roofs, which are intact. You see two tall, almost 60 feet tall houses, appear to be either 2 or 3 stories. You can see these big glowing red sigils on them, but you can't really see the space around them or the floor. But they look foreboding, and they look like abodes.
Alright. Noted. Wait, so how are we doing this? Are we doing this like ring by ring, or you want me to just,
That's what the book
go straight
said,
down?
right? Follow the rings or something, right? Well,
We'll all get there. We'll all take the ring, and then we'll move from there.
The last jump between this area and the next will be to use one of the rings to transport ourselves, teleport ourselves, I'm guessing. I just hope that on the other side there wouldn't be anything waiting, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
We'll have to
No, but
cross
I
that
mean,
bridge
like,
when we
am
get
I
to it.
going to the first ring and waiting for you all? Or am I just going straight to this,
You check out the path.
abode?
You check out the path to the abode,
Okay.
as you call it, and make sure that the coast is clear for less nimble ones like Guntir and myself.
hey, speak
Don't
for
want any
yourself.
guards
I'm
to
just
be
gonna start
noticing
going.
us or anything.
You don't want any, and then you just walk away. You scamper out across the stone,
luck.
get to the ring.
Stealthily.
Make a stealth check.
Alright, so that is a 23, my friend.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Oh, that will not be a 23. That's a 1.
You sink into the ground and scamper your way across the stones, and you get to the ring.
Yeah.
Are you standing on the ring,
Ah,
or within? It's a wide ring. It's like 20 feet wide, so you can stand within it pretty easily.
okay.
When as soon as you cross the threshold, you feel your feet stick, and suddenly, this cloud separates from the stone. You feel yourself lifted, like the beginning of an elevator, and the cloud begins to float, Gesundheit, across the expanse and towards
Ah!
this other section of the city.
Seeing her
It
starting
just
to
drifts
drift.
off.
I'm gonna stop Gunter
I'm
from
gonna
going anywhere.
start-
Just
We
hold
gotta
him
go
for a
after
second.
her!
Gunter starts running and you stop him. More when you drift across, you can see clouds beneath you. You are on your own on this cloud. You can't move. You're like your feet are like absorbed into it, but it carries you gently. It is like a flat ride. You don't feel yourself waving. You don't feel like you're flying on. You've flown on a wyvern before. Not like that. This is very gentle. You float towards this space, and as you get up and towards the actual abodes themselves, you can see on the outside of each a glowing red sigil, and then there's lines leading away from what looks like a central rectangle almost. It pulses with this faint orange glow. I would say, what is your passive perception?
16.
16. They're like, these two buildings are exactly opposite each other, and there is maybe like this kind of rectangle is like a 10-foot by 10-foot square between them, and a narrow, well, relatively narrow, 10-foot wide path that leads amongst various broken buildings. This entire section more intact than the previous one. The cloud makes its way over, and then gently you lower onto the other ring. The cloud fades through the stone, and you are standing.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly scope out the immediate surrounding areas for enemies.
With your previous perception check, you look around, you see these sigils, you see far beyond, maybe like 100 feet or 200 feet away, on the ground, these little sparks rising up. That's kind of it.
Good enough for me. Alright, I'm gonna put Frank on my tail and just kind of like wave him as a sign.
80
Come
feet
on over.
away and up from the edge of this platform, you see Frank on the tail of Morwen just kind of begin waving back and forth. It's uncomfortable.
That's the signal. I'm gonna start sneaking over.
I'm gonna hold Guntir back for a second and get ahead of him, but
Okay. Do you allow that to happen, Gunter?
I mean, not intentionally, but probably.
Make competing athletics checks. And yeah, probably.
Oh, just kidding. That's a natural 20.
you
I'm gonna
win.
walk by this happening to the
Gunter, for the first time, you manage to pull out of Shae's iron grip and you scamper. Shae passes you. But all of you make your way over, and one by one, as you enter this ring, this cloud lifts and carries you across. Shae, for you especially, as you cross, you feel the wind in your hair. You feel the sensation of floating and flying. And it is, compared to the interior space of Kol Taram and the confines of the halls of Dharma, this is a much nicer place for you to be.
I'm quite content.
But you look around,
Yeah,
you can't help
fine.
but feel as if you're being watched. You don't see anything, but you feel it. One by one, you guys make your way. You see Frank and Morwen staring. You make your way to this platform. Morwen, all of your friends make their way over here in a light on the ground. You see these two looming houses with these red runes on either side, and this path that extends. You can see it goes perhaps 300-400 feet to the other edge of this sort of circle. There's another steel ring, and it goes to the next platform beyond.
Is
Beyond
passing
that,
through these two houses with these glowing sigils the only way forward?
no. I mean, you could climb through the runes. You could. You guys have lots of magic and lots of abilities. There's many ways you could go.
Where's the
This is
parking room?
down this path, maybe like 200 feet, so halfway between where you are and where this next ring is, probably right around there.
Because that was the next waypoint. Right?
Yeah,
I would remember that.
yeah. It seems like it would match.
I would say cautiously, I feel like we should scout and hide and make our way that way.
Are these red sigils, do they look like some sort of trap or surveillance or something?
Make an Arcana or an Insight check, your choice.
Okay. They're about this.
If
For what
Gunter's
it's worth,
looking,
I pack away Frank.
Oh, Insight's way better.
Take Frank off. And you put him
He
away.
needs to stay safe.
Ooh, hoo, hoo. That's a 28
For which?
for Insight.
Looking at this, it is these two glowing sigils in a narrow pathway. This feels pretty trap-like to you. You don't necessarily know what it does. You don't know much more than that. You can look down. You can see the square space between them. There are lines in the stone, very faintly sort of etched in. There are kind of like some weird symbols around it, but you don't understand them.
is there a way to climb up and over, or go like?
Want to
circumvent?
go around if possible, because I think you and Guntir climbing is going to be a bigger struggle than it needs to be.
Sure. I guess I just meant circumvent this direct path. If
Yes.
we can.
If
Yeah,
we-
you certainly can. There's all kinds of runes you can climb
So-
through.
Looking for the closest hidden spot that goes around.
Yeah, go ahead and make our survival check for me, Shae. You begin to move through the broken elements of stone, the ancient giant houses that still, some for the most part, intact.
It's 24.
You begin to find elements of a path, maybe at one point like a side road. Bits of building have fallen in, but pretty quickly it makes itself evident to you. It does add a little bit of time, but it's a fairly safe journey. You travel through. Roll a d20 for me. Are all of you following?
Okay. 18.
Okay.
Great, 18 people find us.
That would be pretty.
You guys walk. It's, only about 20 minutes. You have to go out of your way and then curve back in. Heinrich, as you guys are walking, you pass on the right this square building. There's a lot of rubble. It's mostly been collapsed in, but you do notice that there is this excavated portion in the corner. You see stone has been moved to the side and other way, and above on a wooden pole, kind of swaying in the wind, not lit currently, there's a lantern. You could see this element that has been cleared away seems to drop. Without getting closer, you can't see what's within, but you remember that warning about a tomb. And this building feels very similar.
I'm gonna just wait, stop.
What's that?
Wrong way. We were warned about a tomb. This is very much like that. Is there any other way we could maybe go around? I don't want to fight any sort of...
Only like 40 feet by this tomb, you can see that steel circle. You don't even need to go over it. You would be walking within 10 feet of it, but you can walk past it. That is where it is, though.
My patron specifically felt the need to point out, beware the tomb, and this just kind of
we're being
firing
aware of it.
all the alarms. No, I mean like avoid it at all costs, kind of.
We're not gonna
We're
go
not-
through it. We gotta go past it.
No, I mean avoid it at all costs. We're not going this way. I refuse.
Well,
Let's try to
Well,
find another
where
way
else
around.
are we gonna go?
Oh, there's many ways. You guys can try to
Backtrack
pick
and
through
go a
some other
different
way.
This is a whole city that you can
We're
see.
losing daylight here.
You look
Shae,
up, it's
find us
probably
another path.
Your
a little bit
stuff
past
isn't
noon.
going to disappear.
What's the next easiest path?
Make a survival check. There is no necessarily easy paths, but what you are doing is you're basically each time trying to pick your way through different elements of ruin to get to where you're trying to go.
It's 23.
Okay. Roll a d20 for me. It's a big city.
13?
13. Okay. As you guys walk and you pick your way through the stone, it occurs to you, Heinrich, you're walking in roughly the area that those scouts were walking towards. Guntir and Shae with the passive perception of 19. You hear at one point, for the first time, the sounds of movement. You hear a cough in the distance. Somewhere to the west of where you are. What are you guys doing?
There are people to the west.
Are we moving in that direction, or are we just passing by?
You're moving in that direction vaguely. I mean, just make a perception check. You listen to the origin of that cough.
26.
Off to the west, maybe still at this distance, maybe like 200 feet away. You barely hear it over the wind and the wooden chimes and the wooden kind of... they're almost like hollowed out barrels with these angled holes that every now and then, when they bump together, emit this very nice kind of sound. But you can just barely hear that cough, but coming from that direction.
So we're moving in that direction.
Yeah. I mean, you can sit and wait. You do know that they're moving. You kind of hear, you wait for like a minute, and you kind of hear just a little bit further away now. A similar kind of cough, and you hear a voice. You can't make out the words, but it seems to be almost reprimanding.
You think they know we're coming?
No, not yet.
Let's find a hiding spot.
What are you doing?
Hide until they go by is what I say.
They seem to be moving
they're
away
moving,
from it.
They're moving away.
Oh. We gotta try to catch up to them, see where they're headed.
Shh, Guntir, hush. We're still making our
saying?
way toward the ring.
Stealthily, but
Ring.
if we follow them, they'll lead us right to where we're trying to go.
We already know how
I
to
don't
get
know
where
that.
we're trying to go.
They might just be patrolling back and forth, so if they're walking away, we should go now before
Yes.
they come back.
So what are you guys doing?
Ambush.
Find another way that isn't the tomb, that isn't the trapped hallway. I'll take a look this time, I guess.
I mean, if you guys want, there is no like obstacle should you continue in this direction. You know that they are pretty far ahead of you. You could just slow your pace and continue, or if you want, you can try to pick your way through a different direction.
I say we sneak through this way, try to keep tabs on them.
It does seem, out of all the paths that we know connect to this ring that we're going for, as long as we slow down and stay quiet.
I agree.
Okay.
They're not gonna be guarding a random hallway.
Everybody, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Oh, wait. Okay. That's
All right.
17.
Gunter. 17.
19.
19 for
nice.
Gunter. Look at that.
22.
All right.
23.
Alrighty. So Gunter still second lowest, but much quieter as a group. You now kind of knowing that there are enemies, it's a little easier for you to stay quiet, Gunter. Silently, you all creep through the rubble and these stone streets. Here and there, Shae, you do hear voices kind of drifting through. You keep roughly 300 feet away. You never see them. Every now and then you stop to make sure that they can get a little bit further ahead. You travel for maybe like 30 minutes. There's a moment where you kind of stop hearing them, and looking up, you see this cloud drifting up and forward. You see Shae on them, a halfling, not probably familiar to you, and a human. And they just kind of moving up. You see their backs. You see purple and black garments, similar to the Zinni, but clearly different. These are ninth path monks. And you see them kind of disappearing on this cloud, away and towards the next platform up. On this platform, this is the largest of them. Further back towards the end of it is this cathedral-like structure. You can see the glass top, these gleaming silver-like metal joints that join the panes of glass together. You see on the top a platform, and from this side, underneath and looking up through the glass, you see a large metal aperture.
I have a feeling that's where we're going. Let's go.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go right to them. I can't imagine they would store what they seek in a random, unguarded place.
No.
Well, that's why I'm saying we should take them out before they regroup. Otherwise, we're gonna have to deal with all of them at once.
There
I
are
don't
many
think
here,
those two
Gunter.
were of any consequence.
Yeah, so if we take out 2 right now, then that's 2 fewer.
They're already
will
up
be
there. It's too
noticed.
late. Let's go.
You guys continue?
Make my way over. Yeah.
Giving the, I'm gonna like give or suggest that we give a wide berth of time of them arriving at the other end of this ring, and then go. I'll actually take Nod out too.
Okay. This owl appears on your shoulder.
Now, can I have her fly low up to the next ring and then like kind of hide and look around the area, not just like soar overhead?
You can certainly try. Go ahead and make a stealth check for Nod.
17.
17. The owl, for you, very clear. It's this owl, brown shades across white clouds. But you watch as Nod dips out of your sight and then slowly ascends, almost from underneath, before coming back out and then alighting on the edge. What is the distance that you can maintain telepathic connection? 200 feet?
Give me a sec. Oops, that's not the right spell.
But you all watch as this owl soars up and then seems to almost disappear onto the edge.
What's 100 feet?
100 feet. Just on the periphery of your range is Nod. You close your eyes and you open them through nods. You see much more intact this place, although there are elements still of damage. Hold on a second here. From where Nod is, you can see just kind of fading between two buildings, maybe 100 feet off. And there's a central avenue that here leads all the way up to the cathedral-like structure in the distance. The bottom of it is almost like snow white marble. There are seams of this silvery metal that do emit a faint glow. You see a number of figures kind of moving around the front, maybe a dozen or so. Here and there now, and you kind of duck down a little bit, you see silhouetted against the high sun, moving humanoid figures in the air. Aarakocra almost certainly, although up against the sun they're just black silhouettes. They don't seem to be really heading towards you. It's kind of hard to tell what they're doing, but they're taking kind of an arc. You see a number of buildings that kind of lie in the sides. Some of them still have actual like window intact, but that is what you see.
So no one's immediately around where this cloud would land.
Nobody's immediately around where this cloud would
So
land.
like the ring that we would take to get to that next area.
Seems relatively clear.
Okay, that's good. All right. Well, definitely reporting back with the whole "hey, they're watching from the sky" kind of thing.
Well,
I'd
of course
recall
they are.
Nod returns to you. You watch as the wings spread and he again dips down out of your sight and then onto the side, and he makes his way over to you. She.
So, okay, I have a question just visually. This ring, is it just like a platform that's going like...
No, so it's like a 2-inch wide, long ring of flat metal that's set into the stone. And once you step across it and stand on the stone,
Then
this
that
cloud,
Okay.
and it like lifts you
Yes.
off. Yeah.
Well, it seems like the landing coast is clear, but after this point, we have to take as much cover from overhead as possible.
So, what do you think? Maybe we create a diversion and then go in and catch them unawares?
Do we know
I
if
don't
we
know
can
until we
make
get closer.
2 clouds appear at once on this thing? Like, I'm
What?
saying, like, is there a possibility of timing this perfectly where we're just, like, underneath another one? Is this stupid?
I don't think it works like that.
Well, how do you know?
I'm
It's
just,
true, you don't.
I'll go
you know,
first.
intuition.
I'll go first and just make an illusion of myself to look like a cloud, and you guys go immediately after me and go underneath mine. How about that? But it'll only be underneath until you then start moving horizontally, and then it won't matter. It doesn't actually make a difference. Let's
Wait,
just
why
all go
don't you
at
just
once.
Wait, why don't you illusion a cloud over us the whole time?
I don't think I can do it that large. I could try, but we'd all have to stick very, very, very,
Just
very,
make it-
very close together.
I mean, well, you know, we've known each other a long time. I don't think anyone's too comfortable with that.
That's true.
4-way tip to tip.
Yeah, let's all stand as close together as possible, and I'll just try to make a cloud on ourselves so that we can't even.
Yeah,
It'll
just-
just look
just
like an
blend
empty
us
one,
in.
which is
What are
even
you-
weirder
what
than
are you
one that's
casting?
occupied, but minor illusion.
Okay.
I would be casting that
Sure.
if we do this, if we all agree to this.
Yeah, that works for me. I've got nothing.
Anybody?
Let's try it out.
But first, I'm gonna
Group
ta-da my
hug.
armor to look like the cloud. It doesn't matter because I'm wearing a red coat and I have black fur, but that's
Yeah.
my attempt.
But the armor itself, the vest and the elements of it that you can see on your legs shift into this powdery gray white with hints of blue behind it. It looks almost like a
I'm ready.
watercolor. It's not animated again. But Morwen is wearing some clouds. Minor illusion. The duration is 1 minute.
Yep.
There's a cantrip, so you can maintain it if you just keep casting it.
Yep.
It can be no larger than a 5
5-foot cube.
So what I'm going to say is, Heinrich, go ahead and make a performance check.
Yeah, I'll crouch in the middle, and then everyone stand around me, and we'll just kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
And you guys made fun of me.
I mean,
Well,
we don't even probably need to do
it
this,
may
but this is
not
a cool
work. It may
idea.
not work.
Also, doesn't really matter, probably. Performance, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Great. That's a 7.
Okay. You all crowd around Heinrich, and Heinrich, you form this just kind of puff of a cloud. It floats above you, and you would have to all literally like put your arms around Heinrich and sort of as like a group hug cactus kind of figure move to stay underneath this cloud cover. But you could do it.
All right.
I'm gonna, and I'm just gonna get like below and just like contort my body to just be like snaking around.
I'm just
Okay,
like
so you like cat curl around the legs. Guntir,
I'll get
I'm
to
gonna.
the
I'm like
path,
a
and we'll just,
koala
like,
hanging off the side of Heinrich.
Heinrich, all of a sudden, all of your smaller party members are clinging to you.
Which is everyone.
Yes. They all encircle you. Morwen around your feet, Guntir kind of around your waist, Shae just like on the opposite side of Guntir. And from above, as you guys step on and it lifts and the rest of you step on afterwards, it does create a triple, almost like layer of clouds. Or you guys are all on the same cloud, just with Heinrich's above. So you guys all step on it, it lifts, you feel your feet sink in. None of you are looking from above. You feel somewhat hidden. This cloud drifts off. You see this tiny little top, this large kind of base, like 20 feet wide at the base and 5 feet at the top.
My tuft of hair is just sticking out, but it
curious
looks like
if,
more cloud.
Pushing it down.
I'm curious that like, so since it's like, it sounds like a sticky trap kind of when you step on it.
Yeah,
Since
kind of.
Since I'm laying down, is like my whole body stuck, like my
Are you,
whole
are, you,
side.
are you gonna try to stand up?
No, I'm just wondering, just out of hilarity's sake, if like
you
my
don't know?
cheek is like.
As you pull your face, it doesn't feel as if it's lifting easily. There's like a tension to it, and you would imagine if you pulled hard enough, you would kind of like wobble away, and it would be like a flat surface
Strong
again.
magnets.
Yeah, kind of similar. Yeah.
To what?
Super strong magnets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna unstick myself. I just wanted to know.
You make your way slowly across, the wind going past you. It is a gentle ride, and the cloud alights, and the illusion maintained above you, still the single cloud, maybe 8 feet off the ground.
Is there like an indoor area nearby?
Or like
Yeah,
any-
immediately to the left and right, there are rows of buildings. They rise up various heights, but between 60 and 100 feet. Many have doors. A lot of the doors are broken open. The doors themselves are about 18 feet tall in places, some 20, 25. There are elements of decorative pillars that come out. Popular architecturally, there is a style here where many of the buildings kind of squared and rising up, although there are these sort of protrusions that come out. There'll be like columns that bring almost awnings out. You can go down the central path. You see this cathedral, all these monks at the end. You immediately to the right or the left, there is like a building. They both
Closest
look
covered
big.
spot that we can hide in. I'm making my way there.
You dart to the right.
Stealthily.
Sure. You dart to the right. Make a stealth check.
I follow.
Make a
I
stealth
think we
check.
all move as a
Yeah, I
group.
think
So-
we're-
Everybody is a group. Make a stealth
Dirty
check.
20.
Nice.
Oh, still above average Guntir. That's a 13.
Same,
13.
and the same. 13.
It's funny because I rolled a 13, but it's a 26.
As a
rolled a
group,
13, and
you
you
manage to feel fairly hidden. You stick to Shae and Morwen's kind of design path. You stay low, but 30 feet away, dart up. You dart to the stairs. For Guntir, it is a tough climb. The stairs, again, giant-sized, but you make it up. The door is smashed in, and it leads into a sort of like 30-foot-long hall. Immediately off to the left, you see stone furniture, giant chairs, 2 of them, and what looks like almost like a double chair, like a love seat, essentially. You can see at one point there was a beautiful wrought iron and glass coffee table. The glass is shattered and just bits of it below. You can see there's another room down to the left. At the end of the hallway, there is broken bits of wall. You could probably break a little bit more out and just slide through. There are stairs. What would you guys like to do?
I want a vantage point where I can kind of see what's going on around us without
Okay.
being seen easily, if possible.
So think about the way that you phrase that and whether or not that might be possible to be able to see everything and not be seen.
Yes,
Maybe
I'm
from
aware.
just above.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can climb these stairs, and as you do, floor by floor, there are 3 floors in this building. There are elements of the wall that have kind of either been eroded away or damaged, but you can see through them here and there. You see sky out of them, but you get to the 3rd floor. There is what looks like a wooden ladder that goes to a section that is missing in the ceiling. You can climb that to the roof if you wish. However, looking up, it'll put you on a flat roof.
No, it's too high up. Is there
Okay.
a window on this floor?
So on this floor in particular, the doors are not damaged. They are shut, and there's 3 of them. They're all along the eastern wall. Each one leads to a different room. The wall within there, opposite the door, would be the one that would have a window.
Mm-hmm.
So you could open a door and look.
Cool. Gonna do that.
Okay. You go up to the top. You look up. The doorknob itself is roughly 8 feet up. Almost like a kind of handle, but you jump and grab it, and utilizing your body weight, you pull it down. The door kind of swings away with you. You have to hop off. But as the door opens, it opens into what at one point was a bedroom. Large bed. Stone. Still with a layer of dust that has kind of drifted to the corner of the bed with the wind that penetrates from. What you can see is a window, no glass. The wind kind of through. You can hear making a whistling sound as it goes. The bed still has blankets on it, although elements are kind of threadbare. It looks as if it's slowly eroded over time. But at one point was a beautiful blue with this almost like orangey copper-like thread that weaves around the edges, creating a beautiful like tasseling effect almost. But fairly threadbare now. There are no pillows. You see a bookcase almost taller, wider than the ones that you're used to, but it looks like a bookcase. And then you see this window.
I want to make my way to the window and get kind of a sense of what the movement pattern is outside, if that makes sense.
Sure, make a perception check. What are the rest of you doing as Shae goes up the stairs?
I'm following her up the stairs.
Yeah.
Okay,
Following
so all
up
of
the
you,
stairs.
this group kind of crowds around you. You get to the window, you look out, you feel Guntir, Shae, Guntir, Morwen.
I'm not looking at through the window. I'm seeing if the coast is clear in this room, because I'm trying to jump around on that bed. That looks real fun.
I'm gonna stand
make a
guard at the door we entered, just as a point of order.
Okay. Heinrich at the door, 10 feet over more when you approach the bed. Make a perception check. Guntir, what are you doing?
I meant to the whole building.
I'm gonna
first.
go.
Oh, okay, cool. Good
Yeah,
to
I'm
know.
not going up. I'm just gonna like make sure no one's followed us in here or anything.
I'm
You
trying to
stand within the door to stay out of sight, but you stay at the door.
also sort of scope out the situation ahead of us, where Shae is.
Make a perception check.
It's a 29.
I kind of sidle up and I'm like, see anything?
Norman, what was yours?
21.
Okay.
28.
Okay. So, Guntir and Shae, you guys get up to the window. You begin to look out. Shae, your eyes scouting the different movements of the various monks. Guntir, your eyes, one drifts down, but the other one very astutely observing the air. Morwen, for your part, you look around the room. It's just you, Guntir, and Shae. Not even Heinrich is up here.
And there's just one window, and they're looking through it?
Mhm.
Alright, I'm jumping on the bed, and
Okay.
out of sight of the window, I'm just gonna be like fighting air and doing a bunch of like jumps and backflips and
Okay.
stuff.
Morwen, you run up and you jump and you bend your knees ready for the spring, and it hurts your knees a little bit because it's literally stone and then like 2 or 3 really threadbare blankets. So your knees
There's no
jolt.
mattress?
There's no mattress now.
Oh man, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed. I'm sitting down like, ugh. This is the worst bed.
Morwen, dust up from the bed. But Morwen sits there and growls. For the rest of you, you look at this building, this cathedral that is down this alley, or down this road really, and then up. The road seems to kind of incline slightly, so it's up, and you get a very good look at it. So this cathedral has these stone naves, these marble naves that rise up, 5 of them. There is the central one, which is the widest by far, formed of white marble and this faintly glowing seam of iron. And that is where you saw the aperture, Shae, although from this vantage point you cannot see it. You just see the flat stone. The central nave is larger, like I said, doesn't have a tip like the others. The vaulted ceiling ends in that flat platform that I mentioned. There are huge sections of the structure that are glass, not a cheap material. About 60 feet of it from the bottom of it to the top, above about 50 feet of stone. The entire top 60 feet of the structure is transparent, save these thin bars of the same slightly glowing metal. Shae and Guntir, with your perception checks, you see around this aperture there are various bits of paper that flutter in a breeze within. And as your eyes adjust and you really track it, there must be dozens of what look like scrolls or almost like paper tapestries. You can see writing, although from this distance you cannot tell what it is. But just across everything, you see these just floating bits of paper. And I would say, Shae, the 29, even at this distance, it's so hard to tell. There are elements that rise up, you can see through the glass, not ladders necessarily, but like stone platforms that have been built. And there is a figure on that platform. You can see seeming to move things about. You see blocks of stone. You certainly can see this glint of an orange or a reddish metal. Hard to tell, but perhaps the reliquary. You see 2 or 3 other objects kind of neatly lined up next to it.
And in terms of movement?
In terms of movement, in front of this building, you can see at least a dozen monks that are kind of in what look like an exercise of some kind. They're lined up in like a grid-like pattern. And as your eyes adjust, you can see there are maybe like 6 Aarakocra that are flying in these large, lazy, slightly overlapping circles. You see here and there within the buildings on either side, there is movement. You would guess probably monks housed in various facilities here. There is a period of time where you do see the 2 monks that you had seen previously. They approach, they pass these exercising monks. There isn't necessarily an acknowledgement of them, but they walk to the front, these large doors, and the doors seem to open inward. And in this moment, you see the floor, this large, expansive stone floor, and there are dozens and dozens of these gaps, maybe 10 feet wide. And you can just see the sky through them, but silhouetted in the sky, you see humanoid figures stretched across, as if suspended, pulled, their arms and legs taut. Faces suspended, looking down to the sky. You see orange.
Wonderful.
What do you make of all this?
It's going to be difficult.
Well, yeah, but we knew that coming in here. So, what's our plan?
I think we should reconvene downstairs, all of us.
Okay, and then what?
We'll figure something out.
Alright, play it fast and loose, huh?
Do you have a better plan?
I mean, if there's a way we could sneak in, I'm still of the diversion persuasion.
I feel like we should avoid diversions until we absolutely have to.
Alright, you're the boss.
Just as a side note,
Make my way off the ledge.
Okay.
I
Lower
have
yourself
now
from the window.
changed the bouncing on the bed idea to sharpening my claws on one of the large books in the bookcase.
So the whole time you're having this conversation, you can hear the sort of and there's not books within the bookcase.
There's not? What kind
no,
of bookcase is this?
Make
Yeah,
an investigation. Okay.
An old
You
one.
take your claws, take them out, and you begin just raking them across this old wood. The wood curls as if you're peeling parts away. You guys hear this. Anybody who owns cats knows the sound.
I turn around like,
it's super loud.
Hey!
Yeah, it's not
Kind of like-
super loud, but you guys hear it.
I'm just kind of what
Stop
is
it.
called making biscuits on it a little.
Yeah.
You know.
So you guys hear the creak of wood as Morwen.
No
just
biscuits on the
melts.
furniture.
And it's like all four. I'm just.
Honestly, I think making biscuits like something you have to clean up afterwards. More like kneading dough, it's fine. But
No, that's what they
No,
call it.
cats-
Making
cats make-
biscuits.
Yeah,
I've
cats
never
make
heard
biscuits.
that.
Oh yeah,
I've heard it before.
It's
I
a thing that
immediately
they
thought
do
of
with
just
their
like
paws.
you try to mark your territory with too much force.
To be
Well,
fair,
that's what I'm
Morwen just poops a lot. She just does what she
Well,
poops.
that's kind of yeah.
That's true.
She'll acknowledge when that's happening. We've
Yeah.
learned.
Fair.
So
Oh, yeah, I'll
you
let
guys
you all
see
know.
all of this, and as you kind of, Guntir, you lower yourself down. Shae, you take one last look out at the sky. You see these Aarakocra flying, and off to the right, to the east, one of these other platforms, roughly on the same level as the one that you are currently on. You see a figure depart from a rooftop, and then up. You see this shape silhouetted up against the sun, and then the wings. One full Aarakocra wing, one slightly bent and stooped, and this figure begins to glide towards that large structure, away from you, before you see certainly Crick alight on the roof, this glass roof. You see the figure within look up before this aperture slowly, a couple of feet, opens. From this distance, even you can hear this slight metal as it's old before Crick vanishes and it
Excuse me.
shuts.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna make my way down to Heinrich.
Okay. Heinrich, you hear them all kind of approach. You hear Guntir first, and then Shae. You see Morwen doesn't look quite as happy as she did when she went up, but the three of them return.
So,
They're up there.
right,
We
There's
gotta
there's no mattress on the bed.
right.
figure out a way up there. Catch them by surprise.
Did you find any paths that would be concealed, potentially? Any cover?
It's going to be difficult. There's monks everywhere. The best we can possibly hope for, I suppose, is to make our way through the buildings as silently as possible. Hope nobody notices.
Is there ground behind? Is there we like make our way around the building?
But I
Yeah,
noticed,
there,
yeah.
there is. Yeah, you can see because it slopes up slightly. There is, stone and stuff that goes behind the building. This is a big building. This is the largest building by far in Yorn, at least that you can see. You can't see too much beyond it, but there is certainly ground there.
Let's cut a wide arc then. Try to approach from behind.
We should try to stay out of line of sight from the sky as well. There are at least 6 Aarakocra up there, if not more.
Right. Yeah. So from building to building,
Sure.
and I'll try to disguise myself and Guntir, I suppose, using the illusion.
Okay.
Make it look like a
Cardboard
I don't
box.
know. Just like a vague like looks like stone, and I can make it like I'll look down and translate what I'm seeing to it above, and just make it like scroll with us.
Okay. Make a performance check. That's a tall ask for a cantrip.
Yeah, it's an image of an object. I guess it doesn't say it's a move. Well, the object I will
make
make
a performance check.
is a treadmill of the stone ground beneath.
Oh yeah, all those treadmills back in the poor districts of Port Quinn.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I may or may not have seen a traveling play once or twice that uses the scrolling background as the players are moving across the countryside,
Oh, I
standing
think Morwen
still.
was in one of those once.
Heinrich, yes, you have actually.
So there you go. That's what I come to think of.
Fair enough. So you think back. Okay, so yeah, you saw a long time ago, and you would forget the title probably, but it is this play about one of the shields of Sarental, one of the original 3. And there was a period of time where they were traveling through the countryside, through what you know as the Valley of Tranquility, and they had these mountains on this sort of stretched bit of cloth that passed on this repeat. And thinking
Boy, did
about
it blow
that,
my mind as a 6-year-old. Holy shit.
absolutely.
I was enthralled, and I That's really what took up or made me so interested in reading, is because I couldn't get enough of stories after that.
Sure, yeah, and
There
that
you
was
go,
that was the
there you
gateway. So tying it all together, you think about that. Make a performance check.
Lame. Nice. All right. That is 18 plus, so 23.
23. You can't see the top of it, but you do your best to try to. You're looking down and matching it in your mind. Guntir, do you stay beneath the shelter of this thing?
I think unconsciously I probably would. Like, I'm trying to stealth my way, and I just have to be in front of Heinrich.
I stick
Sure.
to Guntir.
Okay.
He's trying to stealth.
It's like the amount of coverage that you would give to a stranger with your umbrella.
Yeah.
He's like right at the edge of it, and you guys mostly stick to it.
Like, I scooting out, and he's like, oh, oh, oh.
Yeah.
Every now and then you get a little bit ahead, but luckily you're pretty slow. You don't have too much trouble sticking to Guntir. Shae and Morwen, are you guys just sneaking through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, stealth checks from Shae and Morwen.
23.
24.
All right.
I mean, I can't roll below 23 unless I roll a 1, so...
You guys watch as Heinrich
about as
and
high as I can
Guntir
get.
progress forward fairly quietly underneath this cover of. As they move in front of you, you can actually see, because of the incline, the top of it. It looks, and luckily, the floor here, this kind of yellowish stone, fairly uniform anyways. You would imagine perhaps if you were looking from high enough up and not very closely, it would look pretty passably like just the ground. But from here, you can certainly tell it's not. You follow this group, and you guys as a group kind of move quietly through the building. Shae, make a survival check if you're leading this group.
I feel like I probably am.
Okay.
It's dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, you don't even have to roll a d20 this time. Given that you know the direction that you're going, this is more about avoiding the other monks who are here. And so your progress is pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
You move street by street, building by building, sometimes room by room. There are elements where you move into a space, you can see long, at some point it was probably a banquet table. As you go through what is like a entire piece of wall missing on both sides, so you can just travel through this house as if it's nothing. On your left, you see this long banquet table. Elements of what at some point was a crimson runner on the top, slightly askew and wrinkled up. You can see a giant-sized candelabra on the table, old brass with a patina on it. You can see even remaining, there are 2 wax candles. You see plates with long, dried up, shriveled bits of food left over, as if it was abandoned very quickly. There are bits of furniture here. You can see actually at one point a painting of a weird looking continent. There are elements that are familiar, but it's different than how the world looks currently. You pass through this house, no problem. The cloud kind of breaking up and drifting around elements of stone and reforming on the other side. Here and there you pass bits that you kind of hear voices. You pass by fairly quietly, but here and there are moments where you're no further than 50 feet from others. I would say everybody make a perception check as you're walking. You hear snippets of conversation.
26.
Okay, nice.
27.
Oh, nice.
21 for me.
Okay, still pretty good.
Holy
Not bad
shit.
at all.
Mine's 16.
Okay. For those of so everybody but Morwen. Morwen, you're a little distracted. You're like looking at this cloud in front of you, and it's moving, and that's hard for you to resist.
Honestly, I'm just wondering where the hell the giants went this whole time.
Interesting question. Are you doing anything with that thought, or?
I'm thinking it.
Okay, you think that. The rest of you, here and there, you'll hear snippets of conversations. You hear at one point what sounds like a human say, "It doesn't matter what Highland thinks, Sprogoth. She's in the apertures with the rest of them." He put his own, and then they just kind of fade out of your ability. They're out of your range of hearing, unless you choose to follow.
No.
Okay.
That
They
one's
pass.
hugging, but,
You continue to walk. You pick your way through. At one point, this building collapsed in and down. It looks almost very like Leaning Tower. At one point, perhaps a church. Heinrich, you've seen it before. You can see the symbol on the outside, big, of Mistra, the sort of eye. But you can't get to it's kind of slanted. You have to climb into the second floor, and you move through. There's a few stone pews still left. Some of them are broken and kind of have slid down, but there's a few left, and using those to kind of climb along, it's pretty easy to get through. You get to the edge of it, and you kind of hear steps beneath you. You all freeze. You can hear this other voice, female this time. You can say, just kind of whispering, I don't know, but they gave the hunchback a sword, so maybe it's true. And you hear whoever's answering just kind of say, I can't believe that. And then they just fade out of sight. Are you doing anything with that?
Is there, like, if we stayed where we were, would we be able to hear it, or do we have to
They sound as if they're passing beneath you, so in the road underneath this building.
Could we follow their path without revealing ourselves, like, within the confines of this?
You can walk about another 70 feet along the wall before you come to a termination point where there is what looks like probably at some point there was like a raised dais, and you see wood like sliding down, probably a podium or an altar of some kind. You can see a tapestry torn and slinking to the side, like pulled by gravity. That ends 70 feet. You could travel 70 feet and try to listen that way. After that, you would need to exit the building to continue.
I'm gonna try to listen.
Make a perception check.
We're safe to listen. That's an 18.
Okay, so you hurry and you catch up. You hear, there's nothing that we learned about anything like that. And even the shadow techniques are forbidden. You hear the whisper again. I know this, not forbidden, but what can we do? When Hylan was in charge, it made more sense. But since Jaruxa got here, and then, Guntir, you almost collide with the wall, and the voices fade out of your sound.
I'm gonna go back and be like, Hylan's not in charge anymore. Jaruxa's here, and people are upset that he's doing something about some shadow, something. It's forbidden stuff.
The shadow arts among the Zinyi are considered taboo against what are considered honorable enemies.
Worth noting, though, Guntir specifically, I would assume mentions, this is, they mentioned this sword that they gave. That's not a shadow technique thing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's not a shadow technique, and they're kind of upset, it seems. Because even that's forbidden or something like that.
Are you telling the whole group this?
Yeah, that was the general gist of it.
Heinrich, you immediately think of the first sword that you had. This blade of shadows. And actually, Guntir, you know what? You hearing that, your mind goes back to the last time you were in Squall's End. You met a hunchback person. You remember within the Black Halls. You had been
to death.
You had given him some of your blood, and then he told you where your friends were and sent you on your way. But
He feigned my death. Did the feigned death potion, right?
yes, he did.
Oh yeah. Also, that what's his name? Grisham's.
Make an intelligence check if you want to remember.
It's a 13.
Sure, Grisham.
Grisma, he's here. He's on their side now.
Does name any parts of familiar to me, Joe?
I mean, you know this creepy hunchbacked, like greasy-haired person named Grisham.
Made me sleep.
Actually, I think I would also specifically remember this person because that was the first time that Morwen saw Guntir die.
Sure. So you would remember also, as they say, hunchback, this hunched back, sort of raspy, with sometimes almost had this weird vocal, like it was like a sour lisp almost. You remember the greasy hair. You remember Guntir, him telling you, "Come in, and you walking into this darkened hallway, the door shutting behind you, as he disappeared in shadows and reappeared 100 feet away. And you followed him, completely trusting.
I mean, he seemed like a nice enough guy at the time.
Not surprising.
Well, maybe we can talk to him. He seemed like a nice guy.
No, Guntir, we shouldn't talk to anyone. We need to get in and get out and get out.
Alright, well, he also has a weapon. They were like, even that guy has one.
Is it his hunchback?
No, I think it's probably a sword or something. One of those worse than Shadow Art swords.
Wonderful.
What I've gleaned is that Jaruxa is arming them with things that are beyond their own comprehension and comfort.
Probably.
Maybe we can use that to our advantage in some way.
If there's descendant on them, maybe we can eventually utilize them.
If we try to drive them apart, maybe we can fracture the group internally.
You're talking about something that would take a great deal of time, and we're
It
not
would.
trying to spend much of that here.
It doesn't have to take a great bit of time if we use the right word.
have you ever heard, like, gossip spreads fast? Why don't we just, spread some rumors? I used to do that all the time back at home. It was hilarious.
And how would you propose that, and why would you propose that right now? Maybe as we're walking casually past them, laugh and say, "Oh my God, I know, right? Like Highland's so much better."
Oh, saying
Yeah.
when time comes, we might be able to turn some of them. If we put
Right.
the
So,
right
alright,
frames.
We'll laugh and be like, did you hear Jaruxa making fun of every single monk here? Oh my God.
Right. That would take us going into plain eyesight of all of them, which is just certain death at this point. So let's
Alright,
stick
party
to the
pooper.
get in, get out, and it's just good to know that not everyone is blindly following this figure of doom.
Well, it sounds like they kind of are. They're,
They're
entertaining.
questioning it though. That's not blindly. It's still they're afraid for sure. It sounds like some of them.
Initially, the Zinni were people of question. We are taught to question. The fact that they have forgotten this is disturbing in a way, but we need to keep moving.
Azra's power is definitely pretty strong. I can say that. Almost died just trying to break my my bond. So
Yeah, but you didn't, so let's keep moving.
right. Let's keep moving.
Alright. We,
So let's keep moving.
Okay.
Physically.
Quietly, you guys make your way out back into the streets after these monks have passed. You wait a couple minutes and let the voices fade, and then you make your way out. You cross these elements of broken stone. You come to a point. Gunter, you especially, go ahead and make a perception check as you walk through what looks like
22.
what looks like at some point like a guild hall of sorts, so they're very badly damaged. More badly damaged than other structures in this region. And looking at it and kind of thinking about experiences you've had, you can see the way that the stone, and knowing stone as intimately as you do, you can see the marble here has shattered in such a way that it looks like it was rapidly cooled. And you don't see ice. And very weirdly, actually, up in this entire space, you have not seen snow. You've seen this little bits here and there of this kind of greenish gold grass that seems to be growing out of the seams of these bricks, or these big stone tiles. You don't see any snow. But, yeah.
It seems like this area has been rapidly cooled, but it's hardly climbable here. And I'm going to think on that.
Okay.
Is there a
What
cause for it?
are you thinking about?
What could have caused this rapid cooling, and why isn't it snowy, like, presumably, thousands of feet up in the cold northern skies?
Make a straight intelligence check if that's what if those are all the things that you were considering.
Ooh, 18.
Okay. Guntir stops in this space after he says that it looks like it was rapidly cooled and begins kind of looking at individual pieces. Guntir, you begin to look at the stone itself and kind of dig through. Rapidly cooled, almost like bolts of ice hit this place. And as you're kind of shifting bits of this almost pulverized stone, this large piece of black iron emerges from the rock as it crumbles away, the haft of an axe. You pull bits of stone away, and it is a truly like a giant-sized great axe. You get like the handle and part of the blade uncovered. This thing like 4 feet long.
Is it wieldable?
By you?
Yeah.
Make an athletics check.
That's 17.
Guntir, what's your raw strength score?
I think it's my raw strength is a 15.
Okay. You watch as Guntir puts both arms around the handle. And you can see he squats all the way down, surprisingly good form for an old man, and you lift with your legs, not your back. And you just lift it off the ground. Stone crumbles away. You hear as this metal like scrapes along the rock and then lifts away. You get it like 3 inches above. Your knees are buckling. Your arms are buckling. You set it down. You can lift it.
Alright. This one's not my axe.
You see Guntir considering this axe roughly the size that he is. Probably not so much. But looking at it, certainly made for a giant. Thinking back to what you've heard about cloud giants, they were not fighters in that way. They were the most advanced magic users of the First Age. But they didn't fight with axes.
Could this be a magical axe? Shoots ice bolts.
Can I take a look at it?
Sure. Do you cast Detect Magic?
I certainly do.
Not magical.
Okay. Appears maybe the raiders that attacked this city. Maybe it's one of theirs. Giants against giants or something.
What happened to the giants?
I have no idea. We'll have
Make
to
it.
wait
Make a
till
history
tomorrow.
check, Heinrich. Because this is like pretty well established Alberon history. It's not necessarily something that everybody knows, but you've read so much that you probably have come across bits of it.
I'm a little distracted at this point because I rolled a 6.
Okay.
Well, I ask the group that, especially knowing how old Guntir is, so maybe he knows.
Guntir, also make a history check. Heinrich, you know that the giants still exist. It's not like they're gone. You've seen a couple of them. You haven't heard of like large pockets of civilization, like large groups of giants. You do know that there were stone giants, presumably across that expanse from the Undercity, because everybody kind of kept quiet in the hopes that they would not lob rocks over again. But you haven't heard of like cities of them.
It's 21.
So Guntir, specifically, you would know that the largest downfall of the giants occurred in 1200 First Age. That was roughly the time, and thinking about some of the research that you've done, that was the first documented time that Aurelian star was seen in the sky. You know that there have been various kinds of giants. There have been the cloud giants. To you in particular interest the storm giants. You've seen and met, or you've seen actually hill giants. You didn't fight them. You know a little bit about, and looking at this axe now and thinking about what Heinrich said, this seems to be made perhaps based on the sort of cold, dark nature of the metal. And looking actually at Heinrich's armor, there are some similarities, although this is not cold-touched iron necessarily, but This seems to be frost giant in origin. And you do know a little bit about the frost giants because you've learned in some of your experiences about the first winter, which then became known as the First and Forever. It is the original frost giants trek from the place that all giants came from, north and eventually towards where Shae would know the Squall to exist, where at some point they settled. What was your role?
21.
And all of this, vaguely, you get this event. You have this idea. You've heard of something called the Skyfall. And you know that at some point there was some kind of... Actually, there's been several wars between different factions of giants, but specifically there was an assault from ice giants at some point in various parts of the north, and you would imagine perhaps this is what happened here.
These might be the ruins from the Skyfall.
Please tell me you told us all of that and not just the one piece you just said.
After
Guntir, what happened to the giants?
So,
These
all
are
of
the
that-
ruins from the Skyfall.
all of that is to simply explain that this might be the result of the Skyfall. All of
So
the
Guntir
things
kind
that
of
I had
recaps
previously
everything
stated.
that I just said.
Good.
To put it
I'm
simply.
glad. You didn't just like, yes, this makes sense.
Yes, I agree with myself.
All right, well, cool. Good to know. Good to know. All right.
But that was thousands of years ago.
And quickly, just because it's the first time that somebody's done this, Jose Bastion redeemed for signing us off. Miles, you're going to be signing us off at the end of the session, so just be ready for that.
I saw that. Damn it. Okay. I'll get my DJ voice on or something.
You guys begin to trek through again. You move through the ruins here and there, although much more formulated elements of stone buildings here. But you are within maybe 200 feet of this cathedral-like structure.
And this is the back. We've made it around, like,
You've
not
made
to the
it-
main
so you
guarded
went-
entrance.
You went west and around. The main guarded entrance now well beyond you, and you can actually see like elements of the stone wall before it gets to glass are like behind you now. You are alongside the building. You can continue along to the back. There are here and there now more and more. You have to pause because you hear voices, overhead shadows pass. You look up, you see wings and Aarakocra. It's getting harder and harder to make it further undetected. However, there is a point where you get to this kind of like shelled out structure, again, one of the more damaged places, similar in appearance to the guardhouse that you had passed originally. You can see within the door that has been torn out, there is a graded sort of floor section that has also been sort of punctured. Guntir, again, you can see elements that look like rapid cooling and then shattered inwards. It seems to lead to a large dugout kind of tunnel. Looking down, kind of following the trajectory of what you see curving out, looks like giant-sized. You see actually leaning up against the entrance a giant-sized pickaxe, the handle like 4 feet long. The head of it is fallen off, the bindings of it long since eroded away. But following it, you can't quite see to the end, but it heads in the direction of this building.
Does it look recently like
Excavated.
anyone else's?
Make an
building
investigation.
recently?
Make an investigation check.
Yeah, just looking like footprints and all that kind of crap. Oh, sick. 21.
Okay. Heinrich, you kneel down, you brush the cloak out behind you, and it does the whole cool, and you bend down and look. You run a finger along the floor, dust comes away. You don't see footprints, and given the wind, it would be hard to tell if they really did settle, but looking down, you kind of lower your head partly down, and there's like a fine layer of dust. It seems to be fairly old. You look and you can see elements of the stone where like little bits of roots from the grass above has grown down and died and kind of just stayed. This looks like it's not traversed often, if at all.
Well, I think we may have found our undiscovered entrance.
Undiscovered? We just did.
Well, by us, yes, we did, but I don't think they're aware of it, or at least haven't been here yet.
Alright, well, let's move then.
We should be careful.
I think
Careful
the most
is my
observant at the
middle
front
name.
and the... I'll take the back.
Okay, so what are we doing? Shae, Morwen, Guntir, Heinrich?
Sure.
Okay. You lower yourselves one by one down the space. It's a 10-foot drop. You kind of come to the edge and hang and drop for you, Guntir. Heinrich, you're able to kind of like put your arms out into the edges and climb your way down.
Not away
Shae,
now.
Morwen, you guys can just drop, not away into this pocket dimension. And one by one, you make your way into this tunnel. You can see here and there, hastily erected and sagging with age, wooden posts, kind of like a mine shaft. You're beginning to get the sense that at some point this was almost like a siege tunnel. Fairly narrow for a giant, but for you guys, 2 of you can comfortably walk side by side. And all of you can walk completely upright, no problem. But you would imagine a full-size giant, like the ones that you fought, would have to like bend down and like crawl through the space. But you walk. The stone is kind of gathered here and there. You can see it's been pushed to the side at one point, but dust has settled. And here and there the timbers crack and creak as the wind blows the stones on top. As you walk, now and then you can hear above you footprints, just footsteps rather, just walking across. There's a point where you hear sound of something landing from the sky, then footsteps walk away. But you feel fairly quietly hidden. Everybody make a stealth check.
It's 21.
Okay.
23.
14.
Okay.
4.
Okay. You guys walk for about 80 feet, quietly. Nothing to trip on here. And then Guntir seems to sniff in stone dust or some other allergen and coughing and emanating.
Sorry.
Shae, you hear above you this footstep stop. And from above, you can just barely hear this kind of like voices muffled by the stone. You hear tap, tap, tap. Somebody maybe kicking the stone on top. You hear you hear another tap a little bit louder. You hear footsteps quickly heading in a different direction. What are you guys doing?
Moving quickly.
Yep, continuing
Okay.
on.
You continue quickly.
Go fast, go fast.
You move another 40 feet, and as it curves and gets to where you would imagine you're almost directly underneath the structure now, you come upon these, spanning the entirety of the structure, these what look like golden bars, each one about 3 inches thick. You can see gleaming, certainly untouched by age. 10 feet beyond that, you see another set of bars, and beyond that, you can see what looks like a very dark, almost basement-like structure. You can see marble, but dark. There's no light within the space. In between the bars, you see skeletal hands wrapped around the ones closest to you, fully, almost petrified. Little elements of skin suction to the face. A frost giant, long dead. Seems to have died between these 2 sets of bars. You don't see any way to get past the set that he is clinging to. Looking down, you can see elements of the stone. There's dried blood along it, and you can see breaks, parts that he tried to scratch beneath the rock. You can see elements of the wall itself. Looks as if it's been damaged slightly. This giant probably starved in here.
Gold bars?
They seem to be made of gold.
Detect magic.
And as you cast Detect Magic, and it spreads through the space, the bars themselves, certainly magical, the floor beneath magical, the floor, it almost seems to extend all the way out to the walls, but you would imagine almost like something, if you stepped upon it, triggered that wall to come down. In the darkness beyond, what is the range of Detect Magic? It's 100 feet?
Please, let me check. No, it's only 30 feet.
Only 30 feet. So goes the 10 feet in that space, and then 20 feet beyond. And even 20 feet beyond, you can see these 4 runes kind of light up. There's certainly more magic, and that is evocation magic beyond in that hallway. And you would imagine there's even more. I mean, you see like faint aura of glow beyond. There's a lot of magic within this entire city, but within this basement space particularly, yes. You get the sense there's much beyond.
Lots of traps ahead, you guys.
Guntir and Shae, 2 of you hear behind you the sound tap, 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 like above on the street, something digging.
Guntir, put up a wall.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast Shape Stone underneath where the tapping is coming from to just make it like appear like a solid chunk of stone.
Okay. How big is this? A 5-foot cube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, up to a 5-foot cube. So I'm
Sure.
basically like filling the space behind us, which I guess also plugs us in here for now.
So you're going from the roof down to the floor. You're just like sealing yourselves in.
I'm sealing not the whole. Like I'm gonna try to leave a passageway through, but where the tapping is, block that off. So it's like sort of shrinking this hallway a bit, if that makes sense.
So you want to make like a mouse hole door basically on the bottom, and otherwise plug the hall.
Yeah, so that like
Okay.
if they continue digging down, it still seems like there's not a secret tunnel underneath.
Okay, sure. So you can hear the digging as you cast this, and the stone shifts and creaks and grinds. You hear the tapping stop, and you hear muffled voices, more of them, 3 or 4 of them. That certainly made a lot of noise. Then all of a sudden you hear again. You hear stone crumbling away. You are being excavated towards.
I don't know if that bought us any time.
What are you guys doing?
We gotta move.
These bars.
Suggestions
It's getting closer. It's
on way
digging.
forwards.
And there's no way to get through these bars.
They seem solid. You haven't touched them. They're certainly magical.
Mage hand them.
Okay. This ghostly hand separates from yours and drifts across to the bars. You wrap around them?
No, I'm actually gonna try to remove the skeletal's hand from it and just like see if him touching them was somehow doing something.
Okay. The hand goes to the giant's skeletal finger and peels it back. You hear and it snaps away. You're able to snap 3 of them, and the hand to the ground. Elements of the bone actually scatter away, but nothing seems to happen. You do notice, though, this mage hand, as you try to extend in to like push the wrist away, does not pass these bars. It's as if it hits a solid wall.
No idea about this one. Shit. Hold on. Is this gonna work? Someone else think of something while I'm looking this up.
Much closer now.
I mean, I could
I don't know magic stuff.
try to trap them when they come in. Once they break through.
You see suddenly a single shaft of sunlight, orangey. The sun is getting a little bit lower now, setting a little bit. Bits of stone fall down, and you hear from above, "There's something down here." And suddenly, again, now a flurry. And you can see bits of stone falling down, moments away from whatever is coming.
Do I?
But
Okay.
because it is midnight, and you guys have gotten yourself into a weird spot, that is where we're going to end for the evening. So thank you guys so much for everybody who followed along, who joined in. I know we saw a whole bunch of people. Jose Bastion, great to see you. You were here for a while. And it's awesome seeing people follow along. Talon, of course, Das, Crixman. I know I didn't see them, but Asumi is here quite often and has a special place in our heart for having the longest active subscription streak. I think at 11 months now. But for all of you guys, thank you so much. And then Miles, one quick thing. Next
Right,
week,
next week.
we will not be having a session. It is a holiday week, so we're taking that week off. So next Friday, there will be no session of Adventures in Alberon. The following week, I believe we're back on schedule. But then thinking ahead, the week of Christmas is going to be a little different. We haven't quite decided what we're going to do. I would really like to run my one shot that I have for Christmas, but we'll see. But Miles, if you'd like to take us out.
Thank you all for watching. This has been Adventures in Alberon.
NPR.
Really, really appreciate all of you taking the time to stop in with us and say hi and hang out as we continue along this foolhardy adventure where all of us kind of know what we're doing. Not really. But neither do you, so it's an adventure for all of us. We'll see you next week. No, 2 weeks from now. Sorry. Goodbye.
Up next, we'll have some smooth jazz.
Great word. Well done. Well done.